several lawsuits from victims of sexual assaults that occurred during rides.
The Delaware County, Pennsylvania District Attorney is refuting reports passengers did nothing as a woman was raped on a packed.
Like, we could just go all day.
The one we didn't get to, the one with the top three, the three things for kids, because we ran out of time. We didn't get a chance to get to that one as well.
I didn't get to that one in prepping. I didn't even know. Oh, the safety, the internet safety one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did get to that. Oh yeah. Let me. Yeah. What you got?
Confident in run game this Saturday. Team health update at Florida. Use your tight end in run game.
Slow down. Confident run game. Team health. Oh, this is a good one, by the way. Yeah. After Florida. All right. I want those two.
You want both those?
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
Using the Dellinger at tight end.
Yeah, that's.
On Jack Mashburn.
Yeah, why not?
Is that the second greatest person to ever come out of St. Paul, beside yourself?
I mean,
Key to stopping Kiffin's offense.
yes. And that's all we're going to have time for.
Nuclear weapons?
We'll hold off on Mashburn. I'll use it if I've got time, but I'm not prepping that. Or, it's not the story. It's just me being a dick.
Where's the JBE cut?
The same as the governor. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the same as the governor's cut 4.
Let's take a live look outside and get a look at your traffic this morning and seeing a lot of green on the traffic maps. No big concerns out there.
I got to roll tape on something Cassidy did yesterday in front of the Senate, so I'm going to step out in our next break. All right. This, like, attaches to your back or some shit?
These are just little sticky
That's only
tabs.
$36?
And it will change your life.
Does it matter, like, how accurate they are? Like,
No.
if I don't have it, like, right on the nerve
No,
or something?
It's got two. It's just putting electric current. The small. It's got to touch two different parts of your body. Because if only one touches, it doesn't have a circuit.
Circuit, yeah,
And
yeah.
it just stimulates the muscles, and it totally. I mean, like you tweaked yourself Sunday. You throw this thing on Sunday evening. Monday, you don't even know anything happened.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I tore a muscle, so...
No, you just pinched a muscle. I've been dealing with this my whole life, so I
Call me an idiot.
No, I mean you can bend over and shower.
He did this. He was...
Who did?
My doctor.
No.
Like, bro. So my daughter joined the powerlifting team
Oh yeah.
at SJA.
Oh, you're an idiot.
So,
You
yeah.
got up there trying to cape up with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a 115-pound girl.
And
I can squat 315. I pulled it doing 275. I enjoy lifting. I always will.
it's a TENS unit, TENS, not
Hang on a
TENS.
second.
Your opinion.
606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane. And I don't know about you, but I'm about ready for the weekend. I don't know about you, but I'm about done with this muggy weather. We got a Friday show lined up for you today. Haggai Davis going to be in for Cup of Tech Gumbo in just a little bit. State Representative Tanner Magee going to join me at 7:15 this morning. How's things going down in Lafourche Parish? How's things going along Louisiana's coast? How are they doing with recovery from Hurricane Ida? We know that Tanner and a few others were getting tired of waiting on the feds, decided to run things through GOSEP to get essentially temporary lodging, a.k.a. FEMA trailers. Now even that looks like it's stalling out. Getting help is hard-pressed, to say the least. We'll talk with Tanner at 7:15. At 7:35, we got more from Wednesday's Ask the Governor show. There was a lot of ground we didn't cover. Talking about constitutional amendments, yes, but also talking about getting more kids vaccinated. and I'm going to tread lightly on this one, but the push is definitely there to get those 12 to 18 vaccinated. We're about to see things open up for kids 5 to 11. And the younger it goes, the more hesitancy we see. And I don't necessarily know that that's a bad thing. Anyway, we'll get to it at 7:35. In the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to have a lot of ground to cover. If you were watching us on YouTube yesterday, and judging by the numbers you weren't, Dr. Ian Smith joined us immediately after the show. Dr. Ian Smith was on the show The Doctors. He used to host the show. He's the fitness guru. He's got a new book out. The guy, along with being a physician, along with being a cast member or host of The Doctors, also writes fiction and tells a great story about a detective in Chicago. We'll talk with him at 8:40. 8:15, we're going to talk telehealth. That is with Krish Ramakrishnan. And if I got that name right, I want a trophy. Krish Ramakrishnan. That's at 8:15. We've also got a ton of others. It's just a total news dump Friday. So much is going on this week. So much is still going on today. Up at the U.S. Capitol, Senator Cassidy wants to stop the IRS from looking at our bank accounts. Meanwhile, Senator Kennedy is now on board with spending $2 trillion because he's got an amendment that has his name on it. We've got the Gaming Control Board says we are another step closer to having gambling going on. There's gambling in this establishment? To having sports betting going on. As Fanduel's application has moved its way through. Oh, I'm going to have to download the Fanduel app. Made money on DraftKings last night. We got some cuts from Ed Ogeron as the Tigers continue to prep for Ole Miss coming up this weekend. 2:30 kickoff tomorrow. Coverage on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, begins at 9:30 in the morning. I mean, we got a lot of ground to cover today. Oh, and just fair warning right now, I'm going to poll at the end of the show if YouTube wants to stick around. If not, you can hear it on Monday. But if YouTube wants to stick around today, Jodie Sweetin at 9:20. Yeah, I know. Full house, Fuller House. Been doing this, been stacking up some interviews about Halloween, right? Or getting you in the spooky spirit. Well, Jodie Sweetin is taking part in a show called. Wait, I gotta make sure I get this right, because it's Jodie Sweetin, it's Meta World Peace, and it's who was the third one? Shar Jackson from Moesha. Get ready for it. Celebrity exorcism. Anyway, that'll be at 9:20 on YouTube only if you want to stick around for it. We're going to have some fun. I had this interview lined up for about a week now. Looking forward to it. Anyway, that's where we're going this morning. Before we get to anything else, let me just start off by saying, did you hear the news about Alec Baldwin last night and then into this morning? Okay, so if you haven't, if you missed CBS News 10 minutes ago, and I'm getting two sets of eyes looking at me from across the room like, Brian, what the hell are you talking about? Alec Baldwin killed a guy. Or a girl, I should say. No, this is legit. This is real news. It happened. A film crew member has died and another was injured after actor Alec Baldwin discharged a prop firearm on the set of the movie Rust in New Mexico yesterday. This according to a law enforcement statement. Director of photography Helena Hutchins was transported to the hospital via helicopter, pronounced dead by medical personnel at the University of New Mexico Hospital, according to the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. Director Joel Souza was transported to Christus St. Vincent's Regional Medical Center by ambulance for care. Details on his condition were not yet released. According to investigators, it appears the scene being filmed involved the use of a prop firearm when it was discharged, which, by my account, makes it no longer a prop and just a firearm. Detectives are investigating how and what type of projectile was discharged. Oh, this is going to be a wild and crazy story when you start to unpack everything. Number one, do prop firearms feel the same and look the same, are made of the same things as a regular gun? Like, you'd think you could tell the difference between, I don't know, something made of rubber and a Glock? Like, how accurate are those things? As far as you pick it up, it looks like a gun, it feels like a gun. You're an actor. Act. But this is Alec Baldwin we're talking about as well. So, who knows where it goes from here, but obviously a very, very sad story. Had to be a chaotic scene of just sheer horror on the scene when a prop gun turns out to not be so much a prop. And, of course, sad when anyone loses their life. We'll talk LSU football next. Going to take a quick break right after I tell you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. 4065 Florida Boulevard or 18181 Jefferson Highway. You don't have to remember 18181 Jefferson Highway. You do have to remember the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. 930-5779 if you want directions. Both locations have the same great deals. Both locations have the same great financing. Both locations, you are encouraged to lay down. Try a mattress out. Lay down. Get up. Lay down on another one. Fall asleep if you can. It's fantastic. Having the right mattress makes all the difference in the world when it comes to getting the most out of your day. If your mattress is old, lumpy, full of dust, full of hair, full of just ick from yourself, it might be time to re-up. Might be time to get a new mattress. Mitch Kimball and his team are here to help at 4065 Florida Boulevard for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Oh, by the way, don't forget, mention you heard about it here. You will get free delivery at either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Yeah, it's also Alec Baldwin, who has he's had his issues to go off on tirades and calling his daughter a pig, like shouting her out, like. Key to stopping Kiffin's offense, confidence in his run game. Actually, let's start with team health after Florida, and then key to stopping Kiffin's offense. Jody Sweeten's people actually sent a note ahead of time. Do not ask about Lori Loughlin. I wasn't gonna. This is or any past indiscretions. Like, I wasn't gonna. Nobody gives a shit about that. I mean, do you think he fires the gun, sees the body drop, and just goes, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice? Too soon? Yeah. Oh, wait, hey. Remember how bad he was in The Departed? Alec Baldwin. Remedy that this weekend. Oh, Haggai. Oh. Jack Nicholson basically plays Whitey Bulger-ish. But it's so far off the rails. Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Matt Damon, DiCaprio, Vera Farmiga, Scorsese, Alec Baldwin is Matt Damon's boss, and he's horrible. Okay. They misspelled Robin. Oh. Never mind. Oh, I gotta let the winners from Bua Dazoo know they won. I don't know how to DM on YouTube yet. Sorry. Randomly. Completely next segment. 617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. LSU football getting ready for Ole Miss. Ed Ogeron earlier this week talked about talked about his team health coming out of the Florida game.
We came out of that game fine. Nobody's going to miss the game that I know of because of the game against Florida. So we got Ole Miss, and then we got an open date. Other guys will get healed up, and then on to Alabama to finish of our season. So we should be pretty healthy down the stretch.
It's just a relative term at this point, isn't it? I mean, unless you're putting hands on Eli Ricks and Derek Stingley. There was a shot, an image, a pic, if you will, of all the guys on the little scooters, the little knee scooters from last week. I mean, look like a motorcycle gang, but with knee scooters. It's sad. So, yes, we're no less healthy after the Florida game, but no more healthy after the Florida game. So, you got to stop Lane Kiffin's offense. Lane Kiffin's just a genius, man. Greatest offensive mind I've ever seen. How do you stop him?
We got to stop the run. I mean, this guy runs the football, and their running backs run very hard. Matt Corral runs the ball very hard, and then as soon as you bite up on the run, the wheel routes, the slug goes, he tries to get the ball deep over your head. This guy's a great game day caller. We have to be on our toes the whole game.
As far as run games are concerned, what about from LSU's side? Tigers looking to continue that run game this weekend?
We understand the task at hand. We have the utmost respect for Lane Kiffin and his football team. They're a very good football team, but you know what? Our team is gaining confidence in running the football and stopping the run. We got some guys back up front that are healthy on the offensive line, and they are confident that they can run the football. They're going to have to run the football this Saturday to keep the ball away from his offense.
It's a good point. Defense by offense, for sure. Look, everything we saw last weekend was legit. That really happened. A lot of counter traps run, but at the same time, though, once you're out there and you could see it happen in real time, in real life, replicating it isn't necessarily the hardest thing. So, kickoff is at 2:30 at Ole Miss. Team's heading up today. I'm trying to scroll through some headlines to see if Matt Corral's even going to play. Last I heard, that was actually in question. So, anyway, kickoff is at 2:30. Our coverage on Eagle 98.1 begins at 9:30 in the morning with Matt Moscona and I believe Jeremy Hill. I want to say he's in. Anyway, you check out Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Network coverage begins at 12:30. Right now, let's get you to the Fox Business Report.
The Departed's on HBO Max, so I'll watch it.
Enjoy. It's long. Be ready for it. It's long, but
2.5 hours.
yeah, worth every second.
Cool. Yeah, the Saints aren't playing on Sunday, so I got something to do now.
That's right. The Saints aren't playing Sunday. Shit. That's a long bye week. You shouldn't go from a bye week into a.
Monday night game.
You should go from a bye week into a Thursday night game.
You really should.
Eric Harrell, you won tickets to Boo at the Zoo. They will be at our front desk. Troy Villa, you won tickets to Boo at the Zoo. And who was the last one I haven't gotten a message out to yet?
Hey, YouTube. Wearing real men wear pink.
Real Women Pink, that's right. Melissa Porter is the third.
Go find me on Facebook. Go to the Real Men Wear Pink link.
Hey,
Donate.
grab the link on Facebook and post it in the YouTube comments.
All right.
Make it easy for him, Haggai.
I can do that.
Gotta beat Franz's ass.
Oh, that ain't happening.
No, I know.
That's not.
You can at least cover the spread.
That's my goal. Is just to get to covering the spread.
Yeah, we did. It was like that celebrity waiter thing last week. I show up looking to not finish last. We ended up raising $1,200. We finished about $300 behind Hiller Moore's office. No, Hiller had over $5,000. Who was it finished? I'm not gonna remember now. We were just outside the top 5. Morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo.
Timekeeping and all the other management stuff turn your dream into a nightmare? Take charge of your practice with Lexicon. We're the intersection of practice management software and legal support services for your firm. You'll get more billable and livable hours back. Lexicon marks the spot for all your practice management needs. Visit lexiconservices.com/intersection to get the whole story or schedule a demo.
There you go, YouTube Live. There's the link.
Byron says, I met that cinematographer a couple of years ago. She was very sweet. Oh. See, and that's the part that I hate the most about this story is because it's Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin will be the story. Not the person who died, not the person who's in the hospital.
Damn.
Were there no spots there? I'm going to have to go back and look at the log after the show. That's it. Full 90 seconds early. Get this Fanduel cuts. Okay. Yep. Yeah. 623, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So, yeah, this Alec Baldwin story garnering a little conversation on YouTube this morning, and as we were talking about it during the break. It really is sad. Byron says, I met that cinematographer a couple of years ago. She was very sweet. All right, the cinematographer who was killed when a prop firearm discharged, went off, was shot. So the cinematographer was shot and the director was shot. No update on the status of the director. But here's the thing, though, and I'm trying not to be flippant about this. I'm trying to, like, carry with it the weight that a life was lost, right? Number one, the story's going to be all about Alec Baldwin. And that's sad. Helena Hutchins, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Her first name's spelled Halyna. Helena Hutchins. Lost her life in this incident. But then Joel Souza, the director, was also shot. Now, I don't know in which order they were shot. But you're talking about a cinematographer and a director. You're not talking about other actors involved in the situation. How do you shoot two?
I mean, how do you pull the second trigger?
That's where I'm going with this. How do you shoot?
One trigger go.
Don't JFK me on this. It's not a magic bullet. The bullet turned right in midair, mind you. No, this isn't that. How do you shoot two? That's where I'm going to fail to understand this. If it was a prop, he had no idea. Like, that's where the story's going to go. But they're not acting here. Obviously, it's the director of photography and the director. I understand if it was like within a take, and within that take you were supposed to, you got like 8 people in the room, take those 2 out, and it happens very quick, but this was not that. And even bigger than that is the fact that this woman lost her life, and she is barely going to be a mention in the story. This is going to be all about Alec Baldwin because he's Alec Baldwin. This is going to be all about, like, past incidents with rage. It's all about his celebrity status. A lot to unfold from this, and obviously the news will be covering it throughout the day. We've got a lot of ground to cover here, so we will move on to the Louisiana Gaming Control Board. They have approved an application from the online sports betting site Fanduel. The board unanimously approved the application yesterday morning, making Louisiana the 47th state to approve Fanduel. Tammy Hopp, an auditor with the Louisiana State Police Gaming Division, gave a report to the commission concerning their projected revenue.
FanDuel expects to generate approximately $1.5 million in daily fantasy sports revenues for its first year of operations in Louisiana.
I want Jake, I want you to play that same cut again because the way it's worded is weird. They're not producing $1.5 million daily. Play it again.
FanDuel expects to generate approximately $1.5 million in daily fantasy sports revenues for its first year of operations in Louisiana.
$1.5 million for their first year of operations. It's worded weirdly, because it's daily fantasy football. It's not just fantasy football where you pick a team and run with it the whole season. It's daily fantasy football, not daily revenue. Had to listen to that cut 3 times before I got it. As for when sports betting will be widely available in the state, Gaming Commissioner Ronnie John says it's the number one question he gets from the media. We had Ronnie Johns on, last week? Talked about exactly this. He says Hurricane Ida forced the gaming division of state police to shift their focus briefly to recovery, but remains optimistic on the timeline that he chose. He remains optimistic on the timeline, but chose not to give a specific date.
It's going to be it's going to be soon. So maybe before LSU gets a new head coach. I don't know about that. So we'll see.
We talked to him before the announcement was made about Ogeron. Tell you what, though, that does mean soon. When Ronnie Johns was on with us last week, which is available at talk1073.com on demand, when he was on with us, he said before bowl games, I believe. So far, only 13 of the 20 casinos in Louisiana have applied for a license to allow sports wagering. Currently, only Paragon Casino, south of Marksville, is the only outlet with legalized sports wagering operating. As for rumors that sports wagering would be up and running as soon as this weekend, John set the record straight on that.
I will just say publicly that that's not going to happen. That is strictly rumor. We are going through an extensive process on online licensing. It's a very complicated process, and we're going to do it the right way.
That's last part is a part that he has repeated. That's been the mantra. Do it the right way. Because the last thing we want to see is something that the state has long been hesitant on, go down the wrong path, and then have to be pulled back out again. And the last thing we want to see is revenue for the state get pulled back out again when you know how quickly we become dependent upon it. In the meanwhile, daily fantasy is still available. And in the meanwhile, I won money last night on a third-string running back. We have got Cup of Tech Gumbo coming your way in just a little bit. Got to check CBS News here before that. But before we get to CBS News, want to remind you before we head into the weekend about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. They've got 2 locations, one on Perkins Road just east of Bluebonnet, another on Plank Road in Zachary. With Complete Collision Center, it's all about the continuing education. It's all about knowing how to fix your car the right way. It's all about the certifications from the manufacturers. Think about it. The people who make the cars tell you that Complete Collision Center knows what they're doing when it comes to getting your family back on the road safely. It's not just about the aesthetic. It's not just about the outside. Oh, that'll buff right out. No, there's hidden damage. Get a complete, thorough inspection. Get certified repairs with Complete Collision Center. More than a dozen manufacturers have certified Complete Collision Center. The iCar Gold Class certification as well, putting them in the top 15% of body shops nationwide. Plank Road in Zachary, Perkins Road just east of Bluebonnet, or go ahead and put this number in your phone, 768-9898. 768-9898. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out Complete Collision and CompleteCollision.com. Here's CBS. Alec Baldwin killed this bitch. Killed this person. That's going to be the takeaway. I don't know how you avoid that is if somebody's the same Alec Baldwin who you've heard repeatedly in tirades and whatnot. The immediate takeaway is going to be Alec Baldwin did this. I have no idea if he did or not, but that's going to be the immediate takeaway.
And I don't know how you get around it. I mean, he pulled the trigger, obviously.
Right.
It's on. There's probably rolling film that shows it. But,
one would hope.
But who gave him
But when is film rolling when a cinematographer and director are standing in the middle?
Yeah, because a lot of times they have the camera to film the backstory, film the filming.
Yeah.
But who handed him the gun?
Right.
Who loaded the gun?
Right.
And you're right. If two people went down, did he go boom, boom, and drop?
But even if he did, it happens so fast you don't pull the trigger on the second one. The first is going to drop before you pull the trigger on the second one.
Unless it's a semi-automatic and he's just... Well, why would you be even pointing that stupid gun, prop gun, at somebody?
I don't know. Morning, T-Bob.
T-Bob.
All right. Eric and Troy, y'all have tickets at our front desk for Boo at the Zoo. I'm going to repeat it again. I'll let y'all know on Facebook as well. Anyway, yeah, why would you shoot once, somebody drops, you shoot again?
Well, you want to make sure it wasn't an accident.
That didn't seem right. She just fell to the ground. How about you? Bang.
Damn, it really worked.
Oh, let me go run across the hall to roll on Senator Cassidy.
Takes a minute to get back in the stride.
I hear you.
Medicare beneficiaries can contact SHIP by visiting idi.la.gov. Talk 107.3, Matt Hurts.
Your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
There's your forecast. Still not looking great this morning. Things overall have been looking good so far on this front. There's some bridge with some good westbound 610 problem there.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
Oh, I had a bad dream the other night.
Can't be worse than mine.
This whole log is messed up. I thought someone didn't put any commercials in between now. When we're supposed to go on. 3 minutes.
Me to eat this huge mound of candy corn, so all the prairie dogs line up and feed it to me piece by piece. I'll never look at that Halloween confection there at the same again. What about you?
Well, I dreamed I forgot to schedule my annual general inspection at AGCO, and my car left me stranded on I-10.
Now that's scary.
AGCO Automotive is here with the best way to keep up with car maintenance. In our annual general inspection, you pick the month, we check out your vehicle and recommend any maintenance you may need, which can save you costly repairs down the road.
That was a freaky dream. Were you on medication, or did you eat anything strange?
Yeah, I actually ate a whole bag of candy corn left over from Halloween.
Oh, God. I don't like candy corn to begin with, but then you think to eat a whole bag of sugar and not die from it? Oh, I don't like sugary, I don't like sweet kind of stuff. That's part of my problem. I mean, how many of you out there like candy corn? I mean,
I'm definitely not one of them.
candy corn is just the worst thing ever.
I said it on the Jada Cody show, I think either 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. It is the worst candy.
Give me a Butterfinger, Snickers,
Reese's, Kit Kat.
Reese's, just not.
Or Skittles. Like, you can give me sweet.
No, don't need. I don't do Skittles.
Okay, you're more of a chocolate guy?
Really, I'm not. I mean, if I have to go between Skittles or candy corn or a Butterfinger, I'm going to go to Butterfinger. But I don't even want to eat a whole lot of Butterfingers. I mean, I just sweet. I don't drink Coca-Cola. Don't drink Pepsi. Never any of those.
Interesting.
What, Eric says nasty junk?
Talking about candy corn.
Love candy corn.
No way.
Never thought I'd like candy corn. I used to hate it.
Can't.
Are we up already?
It's time for a cup of Tech Gumbo.
Ooh. That's for later in the show.
You just don't get it. I don't have your head for science, so I'm not going to be able to help much. For a full serving, check out Tech Gumbo, presented by Cardinal Capital, Saturday and Sunday at 4. We got 30 years worth of files right here in this computer. They're going to bring you down. A cup of Tech Gumbo on Talk 1073. I'm sorry, wrong password.
637, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome in Haggai Davis. Time for a cup of Tech Gumbo. Haggai, what's happening?
Well, I'm here, and I'm wearing pink today.
You are wearing pink. In fact, let's start there.
Okay.
Okay, because you're taking part in the Real Men Wear Pink.
I am.
Have you been every day in October so far?
I have.
Do you have enough pink to wear every day in October? Or are you,
Pink wristband.
Whatever.
It's
See,
pink.
like Franz has to narrow his wardrobe down to top 31
right
for pink things.
Right.
For
I'm not at Franz's level.
No. But when it
Very
comes to
few
fundraising, you could be. You've posted up the link.
Yes, there's a link in the YouTube chat if you would like to donate to the American Red Cross's fighting breast cancer. Please go to the YouTube page, find the link. Any amount that you can donate helps.
Yes, it does.
Goes to a great cause.
Yes, it does. American Cancer Society.
They do a lot of wonderful things. It's not just research. They spend a lot of money. If you're a woman who has to drive a long way to get treatments, they will provide you hotel rooms. They will give you rides from the hotel to the facility where you're getting your treatments. They do a lot of things more than just research with the money. So
absolutely,
it's a great cause.
It really is. So the link is available on the in the comments section of today's YouTube live stream. And then meanwhile, we've got a lot of ground to cover today, Haggai. I really don't know where to begin. Can we just knock out this Robotex topic to start off with? The FCC wants to wake us from our Robotex nightmare. Best of luck.
Yeah. So with they've had 14,000 complaints about robo-text messages at the FCC last year. They're almost to 10,000 this year. I mean, I get 10,000 robo-text a message a day as it is myself almost. It's so damn all of the fake AT&T things since Ida has been out of control.
Yes.
But what they're trying to do is put in some kind of authentication at the carrier level so that we know who these texts are actually coming from. It's a feel-good story, in my opinion, because as soon as the FCC puts down a law, then those who want to do their malware, their texting, their robo-texting, they're just going to take a hop step to the left and go around the rule.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that's been happening with robocalls.
Right.
So here's the rule. You can't do this anymore. Okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this. And so hopefully something good will come out of it. I'm not holding out hope.
Yeah, I usually just delete them. And if it's not like from what looks like a regular phone number, I'll just go ahead and block that series of numbers.
Yep.
I find that I would probably run out of available 10-digit options of numbers before they will actually put a stop to this.
It's not going away. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. All right, moving on. This is one that we're going to get to Metaverse in a little while. Mm-hmm. But Facebook is planning to rebrand the company with a new name. Lipstick on a pig, bad idea. What are we talking about here?
Well, so nobody knows for certain. This could be Facebook trying to create a parent company the way Alphabet is for the Google and all of the YouTube, all of the platforms underneath that used to be underneath Google are now under the bigger corporation called Alphabet.
Right.
So a lot of people they think that maybe Facebook is going to try and create a parent company so that each organization is a standalone underneath that parent organization, so that if Instagram has to die, then the parent company killed it. Facebook didn't kill it. Mm-hmm. Hypothetically, I'm not saying Instagram's going away, but that's what they're trying to do.
So as long as Mark Zuckerberg's in charge, it doesn't matter what they call it. It doesn't matter what kind of parent company they have. It's all going to trickle back to him, and because
don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Look at the Oz up on the screen.
Totally where I was going with that. And yes, you're 100% right. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about WhatsApp. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Oculus, or Instagram or Facebook. It all trickles back to him. You can call it whatever you want. It's going to be Zuckerberg's world.
Yep.
So I also feel like this is, first of all, it's never good branding. Alphabet, like, does anybody regularly use the term alphabet to describe Google?
Only in the news.
Right. And even then, only on MSNBC or on a tech news show. Not even, like, if it's on Good Morning America or on CNN or Fox or on headline news, wherever, it's going to be Google.
Right.
Unless you're talking about the stock itself. Mm-hmm. So this seems like a big misdirection to say, yeah, I realize that I'm toxic for teenage girls. I'm going to do something to distract you from that. Hey, look over and don't worry about what's in my left hand. Look at my right hand.
That's what it seems like when from the outside looking in. Until they pull the trigger on whatever they're about to do, that's what it looks like at this point.
Okay, which brings us around to a term that I hadn't heard before: metaverse.
Yes.
What is that?
So Facebook bought the company Oculus Rift. That's the virtual reality goggles that you put on and you. So the metaverse is going to be a virtual reality environment that you log into. Do you remember a decade or so ago the website Second Life?
I don't.
There was a website where you build your own virtual environment kind of thing, and it was Second Life. Well, I think this is.
Am I dating myself if I say, you mean like The Sims?
It was somewhat similar to The Sims, yes, except for you did a lot of different things, but it was on the screen. You weren't immersed like you are in this Oculus Rift environment.
Gotcha.
So with the virtual reality goggles that are going to be that you're going to be wearing when you're in the metaverse, you're going to see and experience all kinds of things that Facebook is creating for you. Now, Facebook has the money and the talent to really make it an amazing experience. I'm much more fearful of how toxic that experience is going to wind up being for those who aren't ready for it.
Totally.
And so is Facebook just now creating a whole nother platform that's going to be really, really bad?
Absolutely they are. That's what they do.
And then they're going to sell a lot of ads in it. You're going to, when you're walking around in this environment with your virtual reality goggles, and you're going to see all these logos coming past you and all this advertising that you're going to be seeing is, to me, it just sounds like a frightening idea.
So, okay, when I say I've never heard the term metaverse before, that's not in this context. I've never heard it used.
This is what Facebook's platform is called, the metaverse.
Right.
Every time you see Zuckerberg do any kind of an interview nowadays, he's bringing up metaverse because they're going to be making a big, huge push to get. They spent a lot of money buying Oculus.
Yes, they did.
And so they've got to monetize it now. They've been building the platform, and so now it's ready to go, and people are going to start logging in with their Oculus goggles and see and immerse themselves inside this metaverse.
What angles or what directions can Oculus go in order to turn a profit? Because virtual reality, VR, is like, I always think of it as like primarily as a gaming space.
So imagine you're in that gaming space, but now here's a Ford logo running past you, or here's Complete Auto, logo that they just show that building that you walk past the Go Slim storefront.
Right.
And so it's anything they want to put in there, any image they want to put. You're not going to control all of the images. Any image that they want, any advertising they want to put in front of you, they can inject those ads in front of you based upon the algorithms of what you would normally see on Facebook.
Somewhere across town, Gordon McKernan said, "Go on."
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we got a break here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll check traffic. We'll check your money now. When we come back, I love this headline. Even computer experts think ending human oversight of AI is a very bad idea. I can't imagine how that won't tie back into the metaverse. Cup of Tech Gumbo is part of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling along next. Oh, we're going to have to hear from Gordon McKernan's people now.
Oh, you kidding? The fact that you mentioned him on radio, he loves it.
Gordon loves it. His people get protective.
Well.
I did a bit about his billboard where he's standing on top of the truck. This was before I was let go. And I did a bit about it, and I went on for like 3.5, 4 minutes just riffing stand-up comedy, like just riffing comedy. And it was really funny, and I wish I still had the recording of it. Somebody from his... He gets it.
Sure he does. I mean, you're talking about him. You're not talking about, anybody.
Spencer Callahan.
Or any of the other ones.
Or E. Or Dudley DeBosier.
Dudley DeBosier.
You know, the more people I meet next door at Dudley DeBosier, the more I like them.
Oh, they're great.
All right, yeah.
James and Chad and Steven are just such amazing guys. Did you see the Patty G? They were on Patty G.
I did not. I'm going to check that one out.
For an hour, Patty G sat there and maybe said 5 words.
That's his favorite kind of episode.
I mean, he couldn't get a word in because the 3 of them were on a roll. They were having such a good time. And I've known James for a long, long time, and Steven as well, and I've met Chad a couple times. So they are such good guys.
Yeah, they are.
Just and it was a really good show. Patty did a good job with it, and he did a good job of staying out of their way.
Yeah,
the content was so good because he didn't try and inject himself into these 3 guys who could just pardon the pun, hold court doing anything.
Yeah. Let me go stop my recording across the hall.
I did send you the link to the 10 unit.
I saw that. Thank you.
Byron, that's the best description of Facebook I've seen in a long time. Yeah, my kids are in their 20s, and neither one of them know that Facebook exists anymore. Are we? Oh, we just had a dead space there.
Yeah, we did. Traffic was 26 seconds shorter than usual.
Oh. Well, that just means there's no traffic. Everything's good. Keep going.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Renee likes Butterfingers. I appreciate people who like Butterfingers because not everybody does.
Almost there. Gonna have to go back across one more time at the top of the hour.
we're almost up to 2,500 total downloads on
Nice.
Yeah, we've had like 500 since the beginning of September. I mean, it's. And last night we had a couple of different websites. One with 20,000 followers, another with 30,000 followers, retweeting the link to the show with Eric Romero on.
Nice.
Love that kind of stuff.
652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along. Haggai Davis is in for another 7.5 minutes or so. All right, Haggai, the headline reads, even computer experts think ending human oversight of AI is a very bad idea. The story is coming out of the UK. Their government is thinking of scrapping the right to ask for a human to review decisions made entirely by AI systems. Some experts are warning this is not the right way to go. Everyone who's ever seen any science fiction movie will tell you those experts are right.
This is such a bad idea. I mean, so the headline, even computer experts thinking human oversight is a bad idea, and could have also followed up with, and the sun's going to rise in the east tomorrow. I mean, no kidding. This is such a bad idea when you start letting computers make the decisions for other computers.
Right.
You need human involvement. You need human oversight. You have to have people saying, this is a good idea. No, that's a bad idea. Delete that. Stop. Back up. We got to rewrite this code so that we don't do that again. This is such a bad idea.
So I keep going back in my mind. I'm going back to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, where he says, you spent so much time wondering if you could, you never stopped to ask if you should.
Yes.
And
great line.
I think this is where we're at with AI right now.
Oh, it is absolutely. We are in the middle of that. We're not looking at we've already gone past the should we line, because we already are doing a lot of these things, especially with artificial intelligence, with like facial recognition. There's a lot of airports around the world that are still using facial recognition trying to find terrorists, except the problem is facial recognition is about 60% accurate on white guys. It's only about 20% accurate on anybody else in the world.
Right.
Because artificial intelligence, because facial
the data
recognition
put in. Right.
was created by white guys using white guy samples.
Right. So they have a larger pool to choose from.
And so when you don't put a black woman's face into your sample, or even a white woman or a black guy, the system doesn't know how to identify that, or an Asian or a Latino, not to exclude anybody from it, but if
Right.
you're not putting those additional faces into your facial recognition software, you're going to get bad results.
Right. Data out can only equal data in.
And so you get back to this artificial intelligence of any sort, where the computers are making the decisions for the other computers, is a problem.
It is. Among those featured was a bid to remove a legal provision that currently enables citizens to challenge a decision that was made about them by an automated decision-making technology and to request a human review of the decision. Okay, I'm reading that sentence, and it's a little bit out of context if I don't read the entire article, but can you summarize where we are right now, or where they are in the UK, I guess, right now when it comes to decisions are being made about us by computers without the and potentially we don't have a chance to appeal.
So again, it gets back to like a facial recognition thing.
Oh, that's okay.
And because if you go, I know Orly in Paris, the airport there, the Moscow airport, Heathrow I think they have now stopped at Heathrow, but some of the bigger airports in Europe are still using facial recognition software. And so they're saying, oh, that's a bad guy, go detain him.
Gotcha.
And that's just one small example. So the European Union in their general data protection, they've now created a subset of laws that says you have to have human oversight in the inside of AI. So you have one governing body, at least, who's taken the forefront to say, hey, we got to slow this down. Unfortunately, our government here in the U.S., they can't agree on the time of day or
Right.
what day of the week it is. So there's no chance for us to get any kind of legislation to help guide or direct this, and it really, really is needed.
From a perspective of and working with the angle of facial recognition, if the numbers are so low and what it actually does recognize, is human oversight the only human interaction there should be? Because it seems to me like if you're batting about 200, then you're missing about 80%. So even if you're only detaining a few of the potential wrongdoers that come through the airport, how many are you missing along the way to where it's nice to have a human step in and say, no, that's not really a bad guy. He can go along his way. But if the human is on the background, not stopping the bad guy who got through because facial recognition didn't recognize.
Part of the problem is, unlike like the Jason Bourne movies where they can just, pick anybody out of a crowd, and it doesn't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it does zero in on a particular face, and it looks for the facial structures and associates that facial structure with other known facial structures that match. And then you have to decide, is this close enough to pull somebody out?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to walk through and go, oh, that's Jason Bourne, pull him over right now. And so the way that the artificial intelligence of facial recognition is using is this is a likely match. Let's review. Is the way it's supposed to work.
How easy is it to cheat facial recognition software? Like if I were to put a prosthetic Peter Griffin chin on me.
Facial recognition is mostly your eyes down to
all right,
your
so if I were
lip.
to have some fake cheekbones or something.
If you put on a pair of glasses, it's going to screw with the system because
all right, I'm winning.
It can't find. But if you're normally wearing glasses, if every image of you has the glasses, then it helps. But if you put on a new set of glasses,
I gotta get the LASIK. All right,
it's going to change.
Hey, full serving of Tech Gumbo Saturday and Sunday at 4. This is one of the topics you'll be talking about, along with.
We're going to have Eric Romero from the city, who I know he was on last week while I was out. And Eric has now been, I think this will be the 7th time he's been on our show in almost 8 years. So we'll in the first show we do in November will be the beginning of our 8th year in Tech Gumbo.
Dude. That's quite the run. Saturday and Sunday at 4, anywhere you get your podcasts. Talk 1073 on demand as well. One more time before we get out of here. Real Men Wear Pink going on for the remainder of October. It's been going on all month long. The link to donate for Haggai is on our YouTube stream right now, or visit Haggai's Facebook page. Appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
Here comes CBS. All right, let me go stop this recording, and I'll come right back.
See you, YouTube. Exactly, Skynet. Here we come. There's your artificial intelligence moment of the day. Jake, have a great day, great weekend. You too, man. Got anything planned? An LSU victory. Yes.
Yeah, we can only hope. At this point, this season's chalked.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good one.
See you, Brian.
Sorry about that. Oh, he gone already? Yeah. He said bye, though. Okay.
I hate hobbling around like this. Galen says Skynet, here we come. Yep. Oh, the Duchess. .706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Thanks again to Haggai Davis for stepping in for a cup of Tech Gumbo. Catch the full serving of Tech Gumbo Saturday and Sunday at 4 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. And, of course, anywhere, anytime, I should say. Anytime on demand at talk1073.com or wherever you get your podcasts. That AI stuff just freaks me out. That Facebook stuff just angers me. We've got a busy hour this hour talking with Tanner Magee in our next segment. State Representative Tanner Magee. He's from down the bayou a little bit. How's things going in the wake of Hurricane Ida? How's the rebuild coming? Is anybody still sticking around to help? We'll talk with Tanner in our next segment. I'm guessing the messaging is going to be a lot like we heard from Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter yesterday. If you missed this, you need to check it out on demand at talk1073.com. The mayor of Lake Charles was on the show yesterday. He is equal parts frustrated and not really willing to burn the house down that's been frustrating him. The level of support that Lake Charles has gotten over the last year is not up to par. They are still rebuilding from Laura and still rebuilding from Delta and still had those two storms at the height of the pandemic. They're still struggling from the winter storm and a flood in May as well. And yet Hurricane Ida rolls through. The whole world converges on New Orleans. Everything good here? Okay, we'll pack up and leave. I'm guessing the message is going to be similar from State Representative Tanner Magee. Anyway, that's still to come. Right now, though, it is time for Top Stories and Trending. Let's get it. I did that one.
Now, Top Stories and Trending. 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. On Talk 107.3 FM. The most trusted name in news. Brought to you by Complete Collision Center. With locations in Zachary and Baton Rouge. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Choose CompleteCollision.com. I want to know absolutely everything that's happened up to now.
Getting ready for homecoming weekend up at Southern University this week. The excitement is palpable on Southern University's campus. Current students, alumni, and visitors are flocking to Louisiana's largest historically black college for one of the most anticipated events of the year, homecoming. Yes, the events are going on throughout the weekend. Today, festivities delivered a build-up to the weekend's excitement. Homecoming pep rally and picnic, the SU Alumni Federation Pathway to Excellence Memorial Wall ribbon cutting, and the Greek show going on today. Tomorrow, there's a parade. Tomorrow, there's clearly a football game. Southern's going to be taking on Prairie View A&M. Despite a mandate requiring that all school employees report their vaccination status, only about 64% of staff at EBR schools have submitted that information to their bosses. As of Thursday, more than 2 months into the fall semester, which began on August 11th, a school spokesperson said 2,385 employees still had not submitted their vaccination status. School system said it employs 6,639 people. Around the start of the school year, EBR School Board mandated that employees submit that documentation by mid-September. Now, this is not a vaccine mandate. This is a reporting mandate. Big difference there. The deadline, which was mid-September, was pushed back to October 1st in the wake of Hurricane Ida. School system said those not in compliance will be subjected to follow certain procedures. Leaked audio that surfaced this week between the second-in-command at CATS and a former employee has raised questions about whether or not millions of dollars are missing. The conversation is between CATS's Chief Administrative Officer Perlina Thomas and a former employee, Elijah Pipersberg, Elijah Pipersberg. Boy, if that isn't a name straight out of Dickens. Elijah oversaw policy. Pipersberg recorded it referencing CATS's CEO Bill DeVille, quote, "What has he fixed since he's been here without you?" Pipersberg is heard asking. A female's voice responds, and WBRZ confirmed through multiple sources that voices Perlita Thomas. Covering up the Bull S from the previous board members and financial folks with worth $5 million gone missing, the female voice had responded. So Thomas put out a response on behalf of CATS saying there was no missing or misappropriation of funds from CATS. Postal Wait Netterville performed an annual audit for CATS. Our agency and financial condition have always been transparent to the public. Thomas also told our news partners at WBRZ the conversation was just a poor choice of words. A teenager accused of being one of the triggermen in a deadly shooting at an IHOP is now being charged as an adult in the killing. 18-year-old Magee Skipper was indicted on a charge of second-degree murder this past week. Skipper and 4 others were arrested after 2 IHOP employees were shot while taking a break outside the Sea and Lane restaurant. Our arrest record said the attackers scoped out the business, then waited for about half an hour for the victim, Courtney Whitfield, to step outside. Whitfield died at the scene. A second victim was taken to a hospital. Skipper, who was 17 at the time of the killing, was initially arrested on charges of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, simple arson, obstruction of justice, and illegal possession of stolen things. The city parish is working to reduce the flooding along Wards Creek. With increasing amounts of rainfall and nowhere for the water to drain due to the building of more homes, places once safe for flooding are seeing higher water. Ward Creek is one of the areas in the EBR Stormwater Master Plan that they're aiming to improve. Analysts started by gathering data in January of 2020. That, coupled with 300 submissions of photos from the public, are being used to help experts understand what can actually be done to affect the flooding along Wards Creek. Quote, some of the solutions we're looking at is changes in bridges, culverts, usually increasing the size, detention areas, pump stations, potential pump station improvements, channelization of projects, widening and straightening of a few areas are all on the table, said project manager Melissa Kennedy. The next step is figuring out what solutions are the most appropriate. They expect planning to be complete by the summer of 2022. Excuse me. Yes, they expect planning to be complete by the summer of 2022, which means they can get started to work after the summer of 22. That means that it can't rain until then. Sure, it's going to work out that way. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. A very special member of the Audubon Zoo's family is about to become a first-time mother. The zoo announced Thursday that Manari, a Sumatran orangutan, is expecting twins after successfully breeding with Jambi, the zoo's male orangutan. The news of Manari's pregnancy is especially exciting due to the fact that it's very rare for orangutans to have twins. Excuse me, not friends, twins. Well, they're endangered, so it's rare for them to have friends, too. Audubon senior veterinarian Bob McLean said, quote, twinning is extremely rare in orangutans. There is only about a 1% chance of this happening. So Manari, down at the Audubon Zoo, is pregnant with twins. Jambi, good job, buddy. That's your top stories and trending. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about Hurricane Ida recovery with Tanner Magee next. Okay. Oh. I do not. We should have a gaggle of pins. They steadily walk out of the room. There you go. I'm gonna pull YouTube as we get closer to it. I might pull it down because I've got to fly out after the interview to make it to my weigh-in. Oh, do you have to go? Okay, if you don't need, like, you don't have to stick around. I can come to the other side and do it. It's fine.
If that's okay.
It's absolutely okay. Oof, sorry about that. Here, kill my mic.
Timing.
7:15. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So we're going to check in with State Representative Tanner Magee here in just a second. I do need to ask you what you're doing for lunch today. Oh, last Friday, I went by Mooyah. Last Friday was National Mushroom Day. So I varied. I left my comfort zone of a double Diablo. Although when you have jalapenos, pepper jack cheese, and Cholula sauce, there's nothing in the comfort zone about that. It's just downright spicy and fantastic. But because it was National Mushroom Day, I got myself a mushroom Swiss. And it was fantastic. It was everything I had hoped it would be. I also left my comfort zone by not getting the sweet potato fries. I went with the chips. And you know what? Underrated. The moral of the story is the variety at Mooyah is every bit as good as the service. the variety in Mooyah is every bit as good as the quality ingredients. They've got 2 locations, Segan Lane, just north of Industrialplex, or Bluebonnet at Highland. You're going to get the same great service, the same fresh baked potato buns, the same freshly cut vegetables, the same certified Angus beef at either location. Bluebonnet at Highland, Segan just north of Industrialplex. If you don't have lunch plans yet today or dinner plans tonight, why not swing by Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. All right, we are continuing to distance ourselves from landfall. August 29th of this year was when Hurricane Ida made landfall. And all the world converged on New Orleans. And, well, the storm didn't exactly hit New Orleans. But it did take a toll on a lot of South Louisiana. So the news crews pack up. They leave the backdrop of Bourbon Street in their stand-up shots. And our lives just continue on. How has recovery been? We check in with State Representative Tanner Magee, who's still in it right now and pushing forward towards trying to get some folks some temporary lodging. Tanner, welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Always love having you on, man, and I appreciate you hopping on board this morning. Am I anywhere near accurate in that description? If it doesn't hit New Orleans, it's not sexy, so everybody goes home?
Oh, my God, yes. I mean, that's kind of the whole problem that, that everybody, even right after the storm, the media attention was focusing on New Orleans while they didn't have anything really happening going on. So it's, it was kind of frustrating being here and seeing all the destruction and then seeing the coverage in New Orleans. And once they realized that New Orleans had really nothing, they moved on and packed away.
Now, your office is in Houma. Houma got hit really hard.
Extremely hard. In fact, Houma got hit hard, but then if you go and drive south towards Chauvin and Cocodrie and Montague, Berg, and all the more bayou areas, it makes Houma look like it wasn't really hit at all. And then sometimes I drive around Houma, and I'm like, good grief, this is really destroyed as well. It's just the comparison doesn't give it the justice that it really is.
Yeah, and then, moving back inland, I don't know if you've been through Laplace, but, I mean, there's more blue roofs than there are regular roofs at this point.
No, it's crazy. That's one of, I think, the challenges of the storm is actually the breadth and size of the destructive path, multiple regions, multiple parishes, kind of unique challenges, too. Lafitte and Laplace kind of had a different kind of damage than we did.
Yeah, they did. And, and that brings up a good point because it's going to lead us into the conversation about the levee districts, the levee systems. That which was inside the protection of the levees only saw wind damage. That which was outside saw a lot more flood damage as well. Is that about the same take you've gotten?
Yeah, no, I mean, the damage in Terrebonne and Lafourche has really been wind-driven, and it looks more like Allied bombing, like somebody hit some missiles.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the other areas like Lafitte and Grand Isle and see the water damage, it's totally different.
So let's talk about recovery a little bit. You've been very active in getting temporary housing down there and not having to wait on the bureaucracy of the federal government, but as I understand it, you're having some trouble with the state level as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is when it comes to these bureaucracies. They think that there's no sense of urgency. Everything moves at a snail's pace. They rather check 85 boxes off than actually deliver the end goal unit, and it gets so frustrating. And I'm beyond frustrated when it comes to it. They told me the other day that they delivered 13. That was a sort of mile marker. We need hundreds and not thousands, and they're trying to celebrate having 13 residents in trailers 2 months after the storm. To me is crazy.
Homa's not the biggest city in the state, but there are more than a baker's dozen down there to be sure. Who is it you're working with?
It's GOSEP and it's FEMA. Those two agencies are the GOSEP Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. Those two entities, mainly GOSEP, and then Aptum is a private company. It used to be Shaw. People in Louisiana know it more. Shaw has been bought and sold a couple of times. Aptum is who the state gave $9 million to manage this program. And really what they did is they hired a bunch of people from around the United States. All my contacts have, like, Chicago phone numbers. And, I mean, A, they don't know the geography of Louisiana. And B, I have a hard time believing they care as much when they're not really residents here.
So, are we able to determine like what the holdup? You're just looking for FEMA trailers, basically, right?
I'm looking for any kind of trailer.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a FEMA one, but yes, they never really give you a good answer, and they always point you to somebody else, and it's always one other problem. This, that, the other. That lady I talked to, Brian, the other day, somebody told her, which I think incorrectly, that she needed to spend $1,200 to put up an electricity pole so that she could get a trailer. $1,200 she really didn't have. She scrounged some money, and now she can't get back in contact with the person who told her she needed to do it. So she's now out of pocket $1,200, and she can't find the person who said she could get a trailer once she did that. And so now she's in limbo, and I'm trying to find who told her this and navigate the system. It's very frustrating.
All right, I want to get back to navigating the bureaucracy in just a minute, but I want to start with this particular woman, and I don't need to know her name because she's just emblematic of a number of people. What is she doing in the meanwhile? I mean, where is she staying? Is she in temporary housing elsewhere? Is she in a hotel somewhere?
She is staying with friends.
Not everyone is that lucky. What are most folks doing?
That's one of the problems. I mean, people are we still have people in shelters. We still have people in hotels, and then if you can't stay with family or friends, we still have people who are living in a tent. We also put up like a man camp type inflatable tent city in a couple places that have residents, but people don't really want to go there, to be honest with you. They don't want to sleep in a big open room with people they don't really know on a cot. So people are preferring to kind of stay in tents at their own place or make do at their whatever kind of rubble they still have left that it provides them a little bit of shelter. We still have a lot of that going on.
I'm trying to remember back the timeline after Katrina, how long it took to get portable trailers anywhere, and I don't remember it taking this long. I know just getting back into New Orleans was a process after Katrina, but I remember FEMA trailers were a thing in relatively short order.
And Brian, I'd add to you, I would tell you this too, is that one of the differences is even with Katrina, you had hotel capacity nearby. Even in Terrebonne, after Katrina, we had hotels that were able to take New Orleans residents. One of the problems with this storm is it took out all the hotels in Terrebonne, all the hotels in Lafourche, all the hotels in St. Mary. I mean, the amount of capacity of places to actually put people nearby has been a problem. And the hotel space we did have was taken by first responders, and so we were putting people in hotels in Mississippi. This is after the storm, not before it. Hours and hours away, and nobody wants. People want to get back to their property. They want to start the rebuilding process. They want to get back to their work because a lot of them have jobs, and they want to get their kids back into school somewhere. And so, trying to get them as close to the areas we can has been a huge challenge.
Yeah. The farther away you are, the more of your day is taken up by your commute, and that's fewer hours you have to work on your own life at that point. That's right. I remember this from in Baton Rouge with the flood in 2016. It's like the more I was at work or the more I was on the road, the less I was working on, gutting my house and putting it back together. That's just simple math.
That's absolutely right. And I mean, I think everybody has some sort of damage here too. So if you are staying with friends and family, like I'm currently living in a gutted house in Houma right now, but you are staying in, it's different degrees of damage. It's not. I don't think there's a house really that's not damaged in some kind of capacity down here.
Earlier this week, I was reading an article from the Houma Times that said you were starting to see some progress. The article from the Houma Times says Representative Magee said it must have fueled a fire because he's now hearing that by Wednesday they will have a text messaging system. They're ramping up phone calls, and they are sending people to the Civic Center today. It is now Friday. Have you seen that action happen, or was that another failed promise?
I drove by the Civic Center. I didn't, and I kind of went around it. I didn't see any signage showing that we have people here. I'm going to have a conference call at the governor's office today to talk about this text messaging system to see if it was set up or not. I have not really gotten feedback from the public that they've seen a huge amount of progress on that front. I mean, that's the frustrating thing too. Is my frustration with this system is people signed up on the website idashelteringforlouisiana.com to get one of these trailers, and then a whole entire week went by and they didn't hear anything. And I'm not saying like, hey, you've been accepted. or hey, we got a trailer coming, like not even acknowledging their application.
Yeah.
And so my frustration was you have these people who are 2 months out after the storm. They're desperate for some kind of news. They're trying to put their lives back together. And we don't even have a system that we're paying $9 million for to a private company where they get an acknowledgement email, text, call saying, hey, your application for a trailer has been received. Leaving people in limbo and dark right now is really unacceptable, especially when it's not that difficult. And I immediately contacted GOSEP to talk about this problem, and I got brushed off. And, they didn't really respond in any kind of meaningful way. I got the, yeah, we'll look into it kind of thing.
Right.
And so that's what led to me, writing a letter to Wascom, kind of learning media sources about this, because it shouldn't be this hard to do things that are that simple. And I also believe when you're giving a company $9 million to do something, that we should expect basics from them. And, I mean, that is a basic need. And what else are we getting our money for?
Well, and don't we run into the problem of crossing the streams of bureaucracy as well? Because you're talking about FEMA, who has emergency right there in their damn name. FEMA handles this on a national level, so GOSEP can kick up to FEMA, and FEMA can kick right back down to GOSEP. And somewhere in the middle, the folks in Lafourche and Terrebonne and Jefferson Parish are left in the lurch.
Absolutely, that's the most frustrating part, and that's I sent another letter prior to that saying, if I talk to GOSEP, GOSEP blame FEMA, and if I talk to FEMA, FEMA blame GOSEP. And so I was like, you two just figure it out and tell me what we need to do here. And then the other thing FEMA does is they keep changing out personnel on you. So once you have a relationship or a contact that's working, he gets swept out to somewhere else. And so they give you some new guy that has to get up to speed. And by the time you develop a rapport with that person, he's gone. And I think it's probably true between GOSEP and FEMA as well. And it's just a frustrating, it's version of hell, to be honest with you.
In the meanwhile, are you able, as a state representative, to get any long-term thinking done on how to fix this on a long-term basis, like having some sort of, just trailer storage facility where they can deploy in the wake of a storm and have them at the ready? I mean, is that part of the plan here?
Yes, that's been my main conversation with people. And look, I've talked to the Democratic legislators in New Orleans and all across the state, and I've told them the same message. We don't fix this now, it's going to be you next. And so we all have an interest in getting this right, and we all have an interest in being in fixing the system. What we need is contracts in place prior to the storm for trailers, whether if we house them or we already had them purchased. I don't know why we can't have 500 to 1,000 of these trailers purchased every year. We can surplus them if we don't use them.
Sure.
I don't even get to store them. But having this on the ready, that as soon as the storm's over with, you're driving these things, as soon as the roads are cleared and there's power set up, you're driving these things into the parish of the affected area, is a simple thing we can do. And one of the things, Brian, I've learned is I've always assumed wrongly that we had a playbook for all this stuff. There really is no playbook.
Yeah.
If they have it, they're not sharing it with me about on day one after the storm we do this, on day two we do this. None of that's really there. We're kind of reinventing the wheel every time based off of everybody's prior experiences and trying to remake the recovery anew every time. I mean, I was so frustrated right after the storm because we were still setting up pod locations, trying to find a place. I'm like, how do we not know this? I just assumed that y'all knew where the pod locations were going to be. Why are we, and that's the places where they distribute supplies.
Right.
Why are we sitting here, like, trying to find this kind of stuff and figure it out? We should have, like, site A, site B, and site C. If A is destroyed, we go to B. If B is destroyed, we go to C. Like, this stuff should all be pre-done across the state in every parish.
Yeah, and you always run into, well, every storm is unique, but yeah, can we at least start with a baseline? It would be a great starting point. In the meanwhile, I mean, just I know it's going to sound weird, but prayers have been answered, and that we haven't had a follow-up storm the way Lake Charles got a 1-2 punch last year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I say this all the time. My main motivation is to not happen to what happened to Lake Charles, where their recoveries was stalled repeatedly throughout the process, and they're still over a year out and still have blue tarps on most of the roofs and schools, and are still not being reimbursed by FEMA for tons of money they've put out that they don't really have. That is my main motivation, is to try and do better than we did for Lake Charles, because it's an embarrassment in Lake Charles for the state, It's an embarrassment for the federal government in Lake Charles. And I mean, I don't want Southeast Louisiana to turn into like Southwest Louisiana.
Absolutely. In the meanwhile, just keep up the fight, man. We're an open door over here anytime you need to get a message out. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Always.
Always enjoy it.
Yep, State Representative Tanner Magee. And yeah, I mean, you think about that in terms of Lake Charles last year. If Hurricane Ida had been followed up by the way Lake Charles got Laura then Delta, and we still got a month and a week to go in hurricane season. Ooh, we're late. We got to hit news, local news, traffic, weather. When we come back, audio from Ask the Governor on Wednesday. A couple of areas we haven't explored yet we'll dive into next. Okay, I'm changing up the order. I know I wrote these down in a certain order, but I'm going to change it. The order of the Ask the Governor cuts. Oh, no, I'm not changing the order. Yep. Troy, it is Boo at the Zoo. If you've got any kids under the age of 12, they get bags of candy on the way out. You dress up in costumes, and you go trick-or-treating throughout the zoo. It's a lot of fun. I bring my kids every single year, although we're missing this year. First year in a long-ass time we're missing. You know what? I should hang on to a family pack just in case we can make it out Sunday. Anyway, it's this Saturday and Sunday. Today and tomorrow. Your tickets are already at the front desk. And next week, be on the lookout. We're going to have a bunch of ticket giveaways for the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair. You know she's going to cancel Mardi Gras again. Cannot wait to be done with this back pain. Oh. Eric says, so can I collect my elk at the zoo? I mean, I don't recommend it. But if you get any sausage made, I want some. What? Okay, we'll get to them.
267, House 31.
Yes. .737. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. LSU is on the road tomorrow. Away game at Ole Miss. 2:30 p.m. kickoff coverage on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, begins at 9:30 in the morning. If you are hosting some folks at your house, bringing some people back to the crib, as it were, might I suggest swinging by Mathern's. Get yourself a party tray over at Mathern's Market at LSU. Why bother with, firing up the grill at dawn? Well, it won't be dawn for a 2:30 p.m. kickoff, but take a lot of the weight off of your back. Let them cook for you. Give them a call at 367-6074, 367-6074. That's the Mathern's Market on Nicholson at Skip Bertman Drive. That's the Mathern's Market that's directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. They get you hooked up for game day. I believe they are still taking orders for this week's game. And if you need to swing on by, they are a full-service grocery store. So grab all the groceries you need, especially the craft beer. As we head into the weekend, I like to remind you head into the weekend about the craft beer selection over at Mathern's. Both locations of Mathern's, by the way, downtown on 3rd and Nicholson at Skip Bertman Drive in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from Tiger Stadium. They will not steer you wrong if you're asking for recommendations on craft beer. But get your game day squared away. We're at Ole Miss tomorrow. If you're entertaining at the house, pick up a party tray over at Mathern's. All right, Ask the Governor was on Wednesday. We played back a lot of audio yesterday, but it was about COVID and whether or not the mask mandate was going to be lifted. And we'll have more on COVID in just a little bit. But I did want to take a second to address something that the governor addressed on Ask the Governor. And that is what's coming up on our November 13th ballot. There are 4 constitutional amendments on the ballot. The first 2 we care about. The second 2, I have no clue. They involve levy districts. They don't really involve the whole state. We already know the Baton Rouge Area Chamber has endorsed constitutional amendments 1 and 2. We've spoken with a number of different outlets endorsing constitutional amendments number 1 and 2. Constitutional Amendment 1 centralizes sales taxes in the state. Constitutional Amendment number 2 caps income tax and changes the way we handle it when paired with our federal income tax. Governor John Bell Edwards was asked about the constitutional amendments during his Ask the Governor show, and he responded with,
amendments 1 and 2, they deal with the fiscal reform for the state of Louisiana. Number 1 would create a framework for centralized sales tax collection. We're one of the few states that doesn't engage in sales tax collection in that fashion. It is something that I support. There was a big effort to reach out to parishes and municipalities in order to get their support for this approach, because that's what had been lacking in the past. And their support was there. It passed the legislature with a 2/3 vote. And it is something that I support. Secondly, with respect to income tax, both personal and business income taxes, corporate income taxes, I do think it's important that we do what we can to trade exemptions for lower rates, and that's what this does with the FIT and the federal income tax, which almost no other state does. But when you have that in place, the federal government, and not you to a large degree, determines how much tax you collect. We actually outsource how much revenue we're going to get in Louisiana to Congress, because if they have a tax cut, we get more. If they raise taxes, we get less. We need to be in control of that of ourselves, and this is a revenue-neutral way to accomplish that, and it will have less volatility in Louisiana.
I don't know why it wasn't pitched like that from the start. And it may have been. I just probably lost it in the midst of, having having things capped at 4.75%, which would be the lowest rate in the South, by the way, and the fourth lowest rate in the country. And it's a good thing. But in terms of being in control of your own destiny, I think that's every bit as big of an argument as the cap itself. Saying that, I don't want the federal government controlling what my income tax rate is going to be. I want to put as much local control over that as possible. Oh, and by the way, for Constitutional Amendment number 1, which would create a commission, authorize or streamline electronic filing, remittance, and collection of sales taxes across the state, the governor sounded off in favor of that. He signed off on both of these bills as they made their way through the legislative process. But so far, the only person that's really spoken out against Constitutional Amendment 1, that's made any noise about it at least, has been New Orleans' Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Which, whatever that's worth. Anyway, that's the governor talking about the constitutional amendments. Let's get back around to COVID and let's talk about our kids. Because COVID was an overriding topic and has been for the last, more than year and a half now. A couple of the things the governor talked about during the Ask the Governor show. When it comes to kids and COVID, the governor emphasized, or stressed, I should say, the need to have more kids vaccinated and sounded off in it as such.
If you just look at all of the young people under 18 and 12 to 18, they've been able to be vaccinated for a while now. It's only about a third of them that have taken the opportunity that they have. We need to get that number up because while it is true that younger people are less likely to have a severe or bad outcome, they're nevertheless contagious once they contract the disease, and then they spread it to others, including grandma and grandpa and aunt and uncle and neighbor and so forth. And so if you have too much community transmission, which the vast majority of Louisiana does still, you can't really impact that the way you want to if COVID is rampant among the young people.
I'm sorry. I keep running back into, if that's going to affect things, then why do we still have a mask mandate? If that's going to affect things, then why hasn't the mask mandate been used as a carrot on a stick and just say, mask mandate will be removed when we reach certain percentage of vaccination? And then turn around and enforce the mask mandate, which we haven't seen either. More on that later. But the issue that comes up with, and he talks about the low number of kids who have been vaccinated, the issue that comes up is the number of parents who are perfectly comfortable walking in, getting themselves vaccinated, and then got hesitant when it came around to their kids. I'm kind of in that boat. My 14-year-old's vaccinated now. In fact, she's more than 2 weeks removed from her second shot, so it's fair to say she is fully vaccinated. I guess we're already on the clock till her first booster. But a lot of parents got very hesitant very quickly for a number of reasons. And it's not just that they're anti-vax. In fact, quite the opposite. A lot of the parents that I've talked to have been vaccinated themselves. They just wanted more of a wait-and-see attitude when it comes to developing humans, developing children. We're all grown-ups, right? We are what we're going to be, as Denny Green once famously said. They are who we thought they were. Well, we are who we're going to be. We're done growing. We're done developing. Our kids, not so much. So that played a role in it. And yet still the shout down is there. If you don't get vaccinated, then you want people to die. And then people dig their heels in and the like. Our daughter, when she made up her mind, was when we move forward. This is your body. This is your life. This is here's all the evidence. We're strongly in favor of it. We got it ourselves, but we're not going to stomp you down and force you to do this, which apparently makes us bad humans. But getting more kids vaccinated was one of the topics, and it continued in this regard. As the vaccines move from emergency authorization to full-on approval, is it only a matter of time before the vaccines are mandated within schools? That was a question asked of the governor with his answer.
Is there any reason why we don't mandate vaccines to go to school for COVID?
Well, John, it's a great question, and it's simply a matter of timing. So we weren't going to do it before full licensure, that full FDA authorization that you spoke of was in place. It is now in place. Once the licensure was granted by the FDA, the process was started by the Department of Health to promulgate a rule, which will simply add the COVID vaccine to the list of vaccines that are mandated for both K through 12 schools and higher ed, and it will be subject to the exact same rules. And so individuals can opt out today, or I guess their parents can opt the younger people out for certain reasons, and those will remain in place. But the COVID vaccines, as they achieve FDA full authorization, will be added to the schedule, and so that will be happening. I think over the next couple of months.
There was the bombshell at the end, right? That'll be happening over the next couple months. Not a wait and see. Not a it's possible. That soundbite ended with, that will be happening over the next couple of months. So if you've been holding out on getting your kids vaccinated, the clock is ticking. Now, I'm sure a lot of folks out there are going to lose their minds. But I'm sure a lot of folks out there want to take every day possible to watch results. You go first. Let's see how it plays out. And every person that does that is going to be viewed through the lens of being anti-vax when they're not necessarily that. Every person who does that is going to be viewed through the lens of, you want other people to die. And that's not the case either. They just want more evidence. They just want more data. You know, one of the things we've continually heard about throughout the vaccine process is, that's why we don't have polio in this country anymore. You know, one of the things that doesn't get talked about when anybody brings up the polio vaccine in comparison to a COVID-19 vaccine, one of the things that doesn't get talked about there, the timeline. Why is that? 1952, a U.S. peak of polio. 1950s through the 60s, Dr. Jonas Salk develops his first polio vaccine. Dr. Albert Sabin's subsequent oral vaccine is widely used. 1979, polio is eradicated in the United States. From the 50s through 1979, the process had to take place. We're looking at the first 20 months of COVID. Back off of people, please, and be nice. Take a quick break for Your Money Now. Coming back with the Outside In next. I might have to go back to this topic sometime next week. The more I think about this topic, the angrier I get with people that want to vilify those who are hesitant about the vaccine. Reading from the CDC's website. In 1955, some batches of polio vaccine given to the public contained live polio virus, even though they had passed required safety testing. Over 250 cases of polio were attributed to vaccines produced by one company, Cutter Laboratories. This case, which came to be known as the Cutter Institute, resulted in many cases of paralysis. The vaccine was recalled as soon as cases of polio were detected. The Cutter incident was a defining moment in the history of vaccine manufacturing and government oversight of vaccines and led to the creation of a better system of regulating vaccines. After the government improved this process and increased oversight, polio vaccinations resumed in the fall of 1955. At the time, there was no system in place to compensate people who might have been harmed by a vaccine. Today, we have a National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, which uses scientific evidence to determine whether a vaccine might be the cause of an illness or injury and provides compensation to individuals found to have been harmed by a vaccine. Now, you can give me all the oversight on the back end you want, but the fact that it happened leaves the fear in the minds of the people who were hesitant to begin with. Give me all of the, well, we fixed that problem you want. But you know that sign on the wall that says it's been how many days since our last accident? It's 1955, reset that. So that being said, I'm off the train of, and I never was on the train of, but if you're hesitant about the vaccine, I get it. I'm still going to tell you it's safe, but I hear you.
Download the all-new Talk 1073 mobile app, brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Listen live, find out what you missed on demand, and even set an alarm to wake up and listen. The Talk 1073 mobile app is brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Attention hunters, fishermen, and lovers of everything outdoors.
Ah, Christian, I wish I'd had YouTube open at the time. Those are my babies, case in point. I'll be the guinea pig. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll step in front. I'll step into this pitch. Let's pitch with a P. What's the likelihood that I come back into the segment and actually get to the outside in without recapping everything I just said and killing all the time in this segment because I'm an idiot? Oh, poor Lafayette.
It's Porty Rush for Pods, Louisiana. Portable, on-demand storage. Pods would like to wish the Tigers, Jaguars, and Saints and all the best of luck this football season. And if you're in need of Pods, please give them my name to receive a 15% discount. Call Pods today, 888-776-7637. That's 888-776-PODS. Pods, portable on-demand storage.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Troy says, thanks, Gov. Sounds like the beatings will continue until morale. E on the end of morale. Until morale improves. Although I like it the other way. The beatings will continue until moral improves. Also very apt.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
And you can't change the fact that it's been a political hot point from the start. There's no stopping the political argument on this. 755 Talk 1073 FM WBRP. Picking up where I left off in the last segment. When it comes to the vaccines and it comes to parents and it comes to their children, you cannot stop the fact that when Donald Trump was in charge and Operation Warp Speed was in effect, the current president and the current vice president both said, I'm not trusting anything that comes out of that office. I think you'll see a lot of people hesitant to take the vaccine. It's rushed through the process. And then somehow on election day, that was magically cured. Well, the polarity shifted in Washington, D.C., or at least at 1600 Pennsylvania, and the polarity shifted elsewhere as well, to where everybody who was on board with Donald Trump is now against it here. So I don't think it's unfair to look at parents and say, wait, you're a parent. You're concerned about what goes into your kids. That's a legit concern. All right, we're going to pick that up at a later date. This is one of those ones where you have to drop every political argument you have and just be patient with each other. It's time for the outside in. Let's get it.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes. It's about time for me to be hitting the old country trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space.
We're going to start off in Ascension Parish. Another plant worker died Thursday after an incident, this time at the Honeywell plant. According to the Advocate, the deadly incident happened sometime Thursday at their facility in Geismar. No other details related to the accident were immediately available. A worker at BASF passed away Monday after an incident at their chemical plant in Geismar left them and another person hospitalized. I believe that incident actually happened last Friday. Keeping it in Ascension, Councilman Cody Orgeron was issued a summons last week after a violent confrontation involving a client at his law offices a week before he was removed from a public meeting for an outburst that was caught on video. The incident happened October 15th at his office in Prairieville. Orgeron and another person involved, identified as 28-year-old Roydal Lumar, are both facing charges of simple battery. Orgeron told WBRZ Lumar showed up at his office acting erratically. He admitted to striking him, but said he didn't instigate the fight. By the way, Orgeron was also censured for his actions at their drainage board meeting. He agrees with the council's decision in regards to that. Gotta head over to Lafayette, where the man selected to temporarily lead Lafayette's police department has been accused in a sexual harassment allegation, according to a statement issued yesterday by the Lafayette Consolidated Government. LCG has launched an investigation into the harassment claims, and the man at the very center of the claims, interim Lafayette Police Chief Wayne Griffin, has been placed on administrative leave pending the results of the investigation. Of course, Griffin stepping in after the previous chief was let go without any reason behind it. So the new chief of police in Lafayette is lucky ticket number 874-245. In the red tickets, 874-245. Must be present to win. Over to Livingston Parish, 2 boats sank. Another was damaged in a fire at the Tickfall Marina Thursday. Hazmat crews were on the scene during the day to clean up fuel and oil that was spilled into the waterway around the marina, but it was contained in the area. Fire department said that in a statement about the blaze. The Springfield Fire Department said the fire was reported around 8:30 yesterday morning. Fire districts 1 and 2, and 9 as well, were dispatched to the blaze. There were no injuries. Authorities do not yet know what caused the blaze. Closing out in West Baton Rouge Parish, according to the West Side Journal, the city of Port Allen added a new fitness area to Centennial Park. They got a little track, a little workout area, and it is open as of now. That's the Outside In, presented by BRPTLake.com. Let's get you to CBS News. Okay, Byron, I totally want to address your comments because I completely agree with you here, but watch it turn. I understand the comparison, but that can't possibly happen with messenger RNA vaccines. They aren't based on the whole virus like the polio virus, so no mix-up like that can occur. I understand, but it doesn't matter. It's perception. It's perception. It's how people hear it. And the thought that that same thing can't happen does not affect the fact that a person can see an accident happen in a laboratory, not need to know all the X's and O's behind it, not need to know like if a counter trap block was run in a lab. They're just going to be scared because accidents happen. That's my point.
Hey, what's up, dude? I like the attitude today. I'm feeling it.
What?
I'm feeling it.
What? I'm saying get off.
You're doing radio
No,
with Backbone
get off
today. I love
Backbone? Is that a pun because I'm hurting?
How you like that one? Love it. Hey, dude, you know what Anna just was nice enough to do for me? I want to talk about your boy Ogeron. Corey
Ogeron?
Yeah, but guess what? Anna was nice enough to go Big John. You know that song? And we got Corey. Big Corey.
Oh,
Big, big Corey.
He
I
got
like you, dude. We all want a politician to go to bat for it. Fight for it. I like this dude.
physically fight.
Hell yeah.
Physically. Oh, thank you,
What
Rich.
do you want him to do? Put a guy in timeout? What do you want him to do? Take a guy's phone away?
You know what? You come in my office, I'm going to beat you down. That's what happened. Somebody came in his
I don't
office.
come in here much, folks. There's a lot of tension on the air all day here. Too much tension. Just give me a little lightheartedness one part of the day. Damn it.
No, and look, today it's all about get off of people's asses. That's all
Let me tell you something,
That's
ladies
all
and
I'm saying.
gentlemen. You can't see it, but every morning I got to come in here and empty his stilettos. Rocks fall over the ground. Ridiculous. I was eating vinegar with a fork. You are, Haldane.
Empty
You're
my
a miserable person.
Empty my stilettos. How am I gonna keep rocks inside an open-toe shoe, Rich?
Hey, dude, I got to get back to work.
Oh yeah, no. Good luck with that. Is this song over with already? You don't need another extended drum solo? Thank you. We fight for you in the courtroom and we beat you in the office. You're damn right. All right, hey, YouTube, let me know. Do y'all want to hang around for Jodie Sweetin? Or, I mean, yeah, it's 20 minutes after the show. That's a long-ass time just to sit there. I mean, if you do, I'll keep it running. Jake will keep doing his job, and when he hops out, I'll move to the other side and get it going. Aw. Seeing pictures of the cinematographer and director that were shot. How tight is this corner? Oh. Sorry, itchy back. Hey, Kaylee Hartong. Nope. That's not Ashley. .806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I got a busy hour this hour. We got a ton of audio to get to on our next segment. Senator Bill Cassidy was on the Senate floor yesterday. I mean, standing. It's not like he was on the floor, like on the ground or something. But no, he was on the Senate floor yesterday talking about the IRS spying on our bank accounts. This is a story we covered with Attorney General Jeff Landry not long ago. And this is a story that I don't see going away anytime soon. And it's a level of personal privacy that's about to be invaded that it's going to be hard to reconcile this. And simultaneously, if you're cynical like me, you believe it's already happening just under the radar. I know. I might go a little Alex Jones in the next segment. I don't know. But Senator Cassidy talking about the IRS spying on transactions within our bank accounts. Also, next segment, we are going to talk with... where'd his name go? I swear if I get this right when he's on the air, I want a trophy. Krish Ramakrishnan. Yeah, Krish Ramakrishnan. He's co-founder and executive chairman and chief innovator and strategist of Blue Jeans. Sorry, Blue Jeans by Verizon, not actual Blue Jeans. We're going to be talking about the rise of telehealth. Telehealth appointments have increased by 38 times more than they were before the pandemic began. I actually find that number to be low. So we're talking with Krish Ramakrishnan in our next segment, and then Dr. Ian Smith to close things out. Dr. Smith is the host of The Doctors. Remember the show The Doctors? I think that's where Dr. Oz got his start. Like Dr. Oz was a spinoff of The Doctors. The most palatable, I guess. Anyway, Ian Smith, he's also a novelist. So we're going to talk a little bit about COVID, a little bit about fitness, and a little bit about a crime dramas. That's coming your way at 8:40. I know, what a hodgepodge, right? Anyway, cool guy, great story, and we will share it then. Okay. Now's the time of the show where Jake takes us back in time. It's time for This Day in History.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to start things off in 1879. First up, Thomas Edison perfects the carbonized cotton filament light bulb.
Yesterday, he got his patent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he just nailed it right out of the park right after. 1897, world's first car dealer opens in London. Moving on to...
Wait, say that again?
In 1897, the world's first car dealer opened in London.
The first person that bought a car there got a box of country sausage. You're not going to get that joke. I don't even know why I told you. The audience gets that joke.
Sure.
You don't get that joke.
Okay. 1934, in East Liverpool,
Darling.
Ohio, notorious bank robber Charles Pretty Boy Floyd is shot and killed by FBI agents.
He wasn't even that pretty.
Beauty is subjective.
I guess.
Irrelevant. Anyway.
But ugly's to the bone! No, I'm just kidding.
If
Go
that's
ahead.
a reference, I don't get it, but it is still funny.
Thank you.
1939, NBC becomes the first network to televise a pro football game. The Brooklyn Dodgers beat Philadelphia Eagles 23-14.
At Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. I had no idea there was a Brooklyn Dodgers football team.
Yeah, that was very perplexing to read.
And good to see the Eagles were losing back then, too.
It's always happy to see Philly lose. I don't actually dislike Philly that much as a sports city, but...
No, they're terrible. They're terrible people. No, I'm just kidding. They're not terrible. Yeah, they are. They booed They booed Santa Claus. They've thrown batteries at people. If you ever get the chance, go on YouTube and look up Bill Burr, Philadelphia. That's it. You will see 11 minutes of brilliant stand-up comedy that's way too vulgar to repeat any of it. But the long and the short of it is he's on a tour with a radio show, the Opie and Anthony show, right?
Okay.
And he's on stage. The people of Philadelphia absolutely hate him. He refuses to get off stage. I believe he had like a 15-minute set. He used all 15 minutes, and they hated him so much, he eventually turned the corner to where they couldn't hate him anymore. They started cheering for him towards the end. Like, he stood there and took every blow they had and just kept going, and eventually, like, won them over.
I mean, that's Philly crowds, though. They're tough not to crack, but once you get them on your side...
Yeah, but why?
Better.
Why?
It's Philadelphia.
Why? And you have a statue to Rocky Balboa. You have a statue to a fictitious character.
It's Philly, man. What are you going to do?
No, yeah.
1950, L.A. Rams beat Baltimore Colts 70-27. Mercy rule should have been implemented there.
I'm sorry, say that again?
70-27. The L.A. Rams beat the Baltimore Colts in 1950.
I mean, the number of wind sprints they had to run for giving up 27.
Yeah. 1962, Cuban Missile Crisis. That totally happened. 1968, Apollo 7 returns to Earth. What?
The commentary.
What?
That totally happened.
It did.
Dynamite drop in, Jake.
1976, Rick Barry begins the longest NBA free throw streak of 60.
Nice.
60 in a row. 1979, Walt Disney World's 100 millionth guest.
Who was it?
I didn't have a name for that person.
Okay.
I mean, you want me to look it up? I'll tell you. I'll tell you in the closing segment of the show if you want it that
It was
bad.
Steve and Kathy Richardson from Poughkeepsie, New York.
See, but that's 100 millionth and 100 millionth and one.
I'm just saying,
Or
the Richardsons, they go. The Richardsons go as a family.
999th guess.
The Richardsons go as a family.
Right, okay.
Making it up, by the way. I don't have a clue.
Okay. Well, 1988, Elton John sells out Madison Square Garden, New York City, for a record 26th time.
Hey, good for him.
Imagine selling out the Garden 26 times. 26 times. Words.
What is something the Knicks haven't done? Boom!
Ooh! Not since the 90s, at least.
Yep.
1997, speaking of the 90s, NHL superstar Wayne Gretzky's wife, Janet, is knocked unconscious and gets 2 stitches after plexiglass falls on her watching a game.
Wow. All right.
You'd think that the safety with the rink glass would be safer than that, but, well, I guess not. 2012, 6 Italian scientists are convicted of manslaughter for their failure to predict the 2009 earthquake.
That's a weird story.
It's a
We don't have
very-
time to unpack that because we got to.
to. 2016, AT&T buying Time Warner for $85.4 billion.
Okay.
Crazy. Let's get to the birthdays.
Whoa. On this day in 2016. Okay, so last Saturday, Ty Davis Price broke the rushing record, single game rushing record at LSU. It was on this day in 2016, Leonard Fournette breaks LSU's single game rushing record on just his first 8 carries. As number 25 LSU beats number 23 Mississippi State 38-21. Fournette finished with 284 yards in his first action since aggravating a left ankle injury previously on September 24th.
Back with the bang.
Your boy averaged 17.8 yards on 16 carries, goes for touchdowns of 78, 76, 59, and had a body count afterwards.
Like, calling that video game statistics, that doesn't even do it justice.
No, like Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl was jealous. Birthdays.
First up, we have Jeff Goldblum, turning 68.
I referenced him earlier in the show.
You did. We have Shaggy, Hold the Scooby-Doo, turns 53.
Wasn't me.
Correct. Deontay Wilder, 35.
Okay.
Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future.
Great Scott!
We gotta go back. That wasn't that good.
Appropriate for this segment and the music.
Exactly.
All right.
Arsene Wenger, you don't know him? Famous coach.
Nope.
Soccer Frenchman. Turns 72. He's kind of behind one of the greatest teams of all time.
The 85 Bears?
The Invincibles.
Whatever.
Lev Yashin, Russian goalkeeper, born in 1929, was arguably the greatest goalkeeper.
You'll learn eventually.
I'm not stopping.
The only soccer coach that anybody cares about is Ted Lasso. That's
about
literally it. It's
pretty
Brian Boitano's birthday, and more people care about that. Also, Ichiro Suzuki.
Very nice. That's all the birthdays we have to report. No deaths. I have 2 holidays
Red Barber.
to mention.
Famous broadcaster, Red Barber.
Oh, okay. Deaths?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry for that person.
It happened in 92. I'm sure his family.
Yeah, I'm sure people are over it by now then. Well, holidays. Only got 2 to report.
Nut.
Smart is Cool Day.
Okay.
I know you just set me up. It's, what is it, National Nut Day?
It's National Nut Day. Nut Day.
Yeah. I actually wrote that down, but then scratched it out because I just didn't like the thought of saying that.
Jake scratches nuts. 816, Talk 107.3 FM. We got to move on. The next guest is on hold, and we're going to get in trouble. Quick break. Coming back.
Oh, that was great.
Can you check on the guest to make sure he's good to go?
Yeah.
Please get him to pronounce his name for me, please, because I know I'm going to butcher it. Ramakrishnan. Okay.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret.
I have one more
What was it? Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
You can't end it. You can't like do something after that.
No. No. Troy says Humanity needs a new website for this day in history. These sound like an early career Steve Martin routine. It's supposed to. It's not about this day in history. We're having fun. I have fun in that segment, and I don't care. Exactly. You'd be surprised. Talk radio has been so stuffy for so long that every time I do anything, someone complains. I know, but that's not what talk radio's been forever. It's been cranky. It's been piss and vinegar. I just don't believe life should be like that. His out is 24? Super. Yeah, that's what I need anyway. Because I got to get to the Cassidy stuff. Hey, Senator Cassidy in the today's folder. I dubbed it during the earlier segment. 819 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Ran long in that first segment like we often do, so let's dive right in. Let's start talking telehealth. If anything during the pandemic has adapted and we will keep forever, I'm guessing it's telehealth. Joining us now to talk about it is Krish Ramakrishnan. He's the co-founder and executive chairman and chief innovator for Blue Jeans by Verizon. Krish, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. Glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this because through so much chaos over the last 20 months, this is an area where we have learned on the fly. We have grown in the space and grown more comfortable with the adaptations of telehealth. So where it goes moving forward, I think is important for us. So let's start with this. How has telehealth grown over the last 20 months?
Well, during the pandemic, we saw unprecedented growth in telehealth. Previously, patients and physicians were a little hesitant, but they saw the benefit of telehealth during the pandemic. They had no choice. They had to adapt. So it has grown. I would call telehealth the modern day in-home house calls. It's a new way of doing, and it's lots of convenience. And one of the things that have been missing in this whole equation is how do you get the patient's data during your televisit, like your heart rate and so on. And that's what we at Verizon, Blue Jeans by Verizon, have done.
Okay, so that has been an important part. Normally, it's so far, the telehealth visits have been mostly just from a consultation standpoint. What y'all are trying to do is integrate a number of different technologies to get those vitals in as well, correct?
Absolutely. That has been the missing element, I said, right? So during your televisit session, how do you get your patient data, such as heart rate? Maybe you had an ECG. Maybe the doctor needs to know how well you're sleeping or what's your exercise routine look like. So if you have an iPhone integration with the Apple Health app, you can easily transmit all of this data to your doctor during a Blue Jeans televisit, and then this doctor and the patient can actually discuss in a whole new realm that has been missing before. Previously, you have to sort of make a trip to the clinic to transmit this data. Now it's all done at the comfort of your own home, and it makes it a greater outcome for that visit.
What kind of data? Heart rate's an obvious one, right? But what other kind of data can we get through this?
Yeah, well, for instance, as I said, if you have the iPhone integration, the type of data that you can usually collect is really heart rate, ECG, sleep, step, count, falls, mobility data, anything that your wearable has collected and you give permission for you to share. These are some of the things that we have done with the Apple Health integration. These are things that are collected by your watch, for instance.
Yeah, the Apple Watch does a lot, and it's translating those feels like it would be easy. But what are the next steps? Where are we anywhere? Okay, let me just set it this way: are we anywhere near seeing blood pressure being a factor here, or any other kind of testing that you get done when you regularly go into the doctor's office?
I would say that in the coming years, you will see all of those things integrated into a televisit through such wearables. That is the future. So, actually, lessening the need for going to an inpatient visit. After all, right? You want to avoid that visit because sometimes when you go inpatient, you're waiting there. You're having. I heard your traffic report. You may have to cross that bridge to get there, and so there's lots of conveniences. The more we can actually integrate data so that you have this contextual information, the better it is for everybody, and that's what the future holds.
Yeah, it is. The comfort level of the patient has grown rapidly as well. How well have people adapted to the telehealth and diving in, not just with the technology, but with the relationship with the doctor through the technology?
It all starts with patient and provider comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
Is it secure? Is it private? Do I have control over the data? How easy is the experience? Can it be immersive? That's what the Blue Jeans Telehealth app tries to do. We have full privacy and security integrated, giving you peace of mind. We are in the healthcare industry. Blue Jeans is HIPAA ready, which is a regulatory requirement, so that for privacy and security and all that. So it's going to make everything comfortable, and when you can share data relevant to your visit, that discussion between a doctor and patient is going to be more relevant, more meaningful, which will actually lead to a better outcome. And you wonder why it wasn't there before.
No, we do. Well, comfort level, necessity is the mother of invention. And I think that the pandemic has definitely been the necessity by this advancement, to say the least. Got about a minute and a half left with Krish Ramakrishnan. Blue Jeans by Verizon is what we're talking about, as it's the next step when it comes to telehealth. Krish, is Blue Jeans collecting data simultaneously, or are you tapping into what's already being collected?
We are merely tapping into what is collected on your wearables, such as your iPhone integration, and you have control over what that information that you want to share during your telehealth. We are not collecting data. We are just merely transmitting. And by the way, the data that we transmit is fully encrypted, and it's encrypted at rest as well, and so on. So that makes it very comforting.
What level of availability is there for Blue Jeans right now?
Well, the availability is that it's available, and many providers are using it, using Blue Jeans Telehealth, and we are excited that this medium is only growing. Well, one of the organization, HIM, recently said more and more hospitals are investing in telehealth, even after, if you see the pandemic receding, the telehealth is here to stay. As I mentioned before, this is the new house call.
It is.
That's going to happen. Comfort at your own home, privacy. And there is another benefit, Brian, which is a lot of access in rural areas. You never had access to specialty care. Telehealth is going to make all that easy accessible during the coming years. You'll see more and more innovation in this area.
And that folds into a broadband conversation as well, as we try to get more and more access to more and more places. In the meanwhile, hey, one last one for you, and I appreciate you staying on a little long because we ran long before getting to you. Blue Jeans by Verizon, is this sent through the consumer up to the doctor, or are you sending through the healthcare provider down to the consumer? Like, as far as marketing and spreading the word.
Yes, it's actually a great question, Brian. It is actually, we sell to the providers who then integrate, and it's integrated into their workflow, like EHR systems.
Hey, is this Scott?
and they send it to the
Sorry about this.
patient.
He is Krish. He is Krish Ramakrishnan. I thank you for the time. I hear the signal you got to get, but appreciate you hopping on with me today, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, you too. Thanks. Ran long right there. Well, we ran long because we started late. It's interesting technology. It's going to be fun to follow the things that have grown from the pandemic. As I said, they're necessities and the mother of invention. The things that have sprouted out that we're just going to keep. We're just going to keep. That's going to be the follow-ups, right? That's going to be the fun part to keep track of. Anyway, we got a lot of ground to cover. Oh, I got to get to. Okay, Senator Cassidy was on the Senate floor yesterday. Good place for a senator. He was talking about the IRS spying on us, basically. And I tell you what, I'm not going to dilly-dally with this. I'm just going to dive right into the audio. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy delivered a speech on the Senate floor condemning the Democrats' plan to direct the IRS to spy on Americans' bank accounts.
This is nothing less than mass, indiscriminate government surveillance of Americans, giving IRS bureaucrats unfettered access to Americans' personal, private finance, which is a gross invasion of privacy and an abuse of power. Democrats say that this reporting requirement will only target the rich. But, according to the New York Times, the Biden administration's original plan was to have banks quote, provide data for accounts with total annual withdrawals or deposits worth more than $600.
Whoa, got to pause right there. We'll dive back into it with the senator in a minute. If you heard that the way I heard that, total deposits and withdrawals annually of $600. When I first read this, I was under the impression this was $600 transactions, which is more than a lot of car payments. That puts a whole new paint job on things. $600 total is completely different. All right, let's dive back into the senator.
$600 over the course of a year. I don't know if I can think of anyone other than maybe the 8-year-old child whose parent opens up an account for them to have an account. No one else which has an account will have less than $600 in transactions.
Note to self. Neither my 14-year-old nor 8-year-old has a bank account yet. My 9-year-old has a bank account yet. I need to get on that. Back to the senator.
Administration is advocating for. If you're a small business owner, it will be as if you were spied upon. If you are a family looking to buy your first home, you will be as if spied upon. If you sell your neighbors some fishing rods, hey, the IRS is going to know about it. If you're a single working mom trying to take care of your children, paying for daycare, they will know it.
That's the long and the short of it right there. That last part, buying a home, selling some fishing rods, paying for daycare, all these things are going to end up on the radar of the IRS transactionally. Not what you report, what they dig in and find. I don't know. There's something very unsettling about that whole thing. If we have a chance, we'll dig back into this later on in the show. Right now, we're going to break for news. When we come back, Dr. Ian Smith is next. You forget about 4, 5, and 6 from LRN. I'm not going to get to them, and I didn't want to get to them anyway. Do you have them downloaded? Save them because we might talk about them on Monday. Cool. Troy says, Byron, truth is the majority of people don't understand the difference between mRNA and historical vax. So it's safe talk. Sounds like lip service, like Ford saying the Pinto was a safe car. Well, proportionally, the Pinto was a safe car now, wasn't it? I mean, there was really only one reason it exploded. All right, so you've got Dr. Smith. How does Dr. Smith start? I'll ask after the news. After the news. Dr. Smith, how does he start? Oh, wait, you can't know yet. Yeah, you can't know yet. That's
Yeah. Once the show's done, I'm gonna have all of that done.
cool. All right. Hey, no one has sounded off yet on whether or not you want to hang around for 20 whole minutes to hear Jody Sweeten or if you'll wait until Monday. So I'm going to make the call. Jody Sweeten, Monday. All right? That's just 20 minutes is a long-ass time. That's what she said. Okay. Okay. Yep. Never took me for a Pinto apologist. Only when used as a desperate comparison. I got to get back into this spying topic at some point. This is such crap. The thing of it is with the spying topic is it's not even the government intrusion. It's the unintended consequences that are going to get us. What's going to end up happening here is a black market like you've never seen. Like, you want to start seeing things happen for barter or trade or whatever? You want to see people start to completely minimize what they actually spend on a recordable level? That, 7 minutes with Jody Sweeten. Yeah. Yeah, the second in a series. It's called Wolf Point. The second in the Ash Kane series. Ash is spelled A-S-H-E. Kane, C-A-Y-N-E. Oh, I can't wait to work out again. Oh, it's been the longest week ever. Ever. So we're going to use this. .838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Hour 3 in Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Coming up in just a minute, I got the chance to catch up with Dr. Ian Smith. He was the host of The Doctors. Got to talk a little bit about COVID-19, got to talk a little bit about, well, he's the fitness guru on The Doctors, right? Yeah, Dr. Oz, a couple of other ones on that show. We talked a little bit about that, but we also talked a little bit about his latest novel, which I find fascinating. I mean, his guy, Dr. Ian Smith, he is a physician. He is the author of a number of nonfiction books, The Revolutionary Diet, Super Shred, Big Results Diet, Blast the Sugar Out, The Clean 20, The Ancient 9, Clean and Lean. I mean, this is what he knows. This is what he does. He's kind of ripped, kind of shredded. He knows the diet and the fitness end of being a doctor. He's also a novelist, which is kind of cool. We'll hear from him in just a minute. It's a full disclosure. It is a recorded interview. Spoke with Dr. Smith yesterday. If you stuck around after the show on YouTube yesterday, you got to hear it already. Before we get to Dr. Smith, though, after the show today, I'm going to interview Jody Sweeten. After the interview with Jody Sweeten, I'm going to head over to the corner of Bluebonnet and Perkins to go visit Vicky and her team over at Go Slim Nutrition. Look, if you've been on the fence about trying out Go Slim, can I interest you in a free bar or a free shake? Can I interest you in joining me at 10 o'clock over at Go Slim? Meet Vicky, meet her team. Try out the food. It's fantastic. The bars are wonderful. The meals are really good, too. The shakes are phenomenal as well. But it's not about the food. It's about meeting Vicky and her team because it's all about the accountability. It's about sitting down and figuring out not only what you did right and wrong the last week, but how to make the program work within your lifestyle moving forward. I'll give you a perfect example, all right? Most of what I have worked with Go Slim on so far has involved me working out 3 to 4 times a week. Hurt my back on Sunday. Doctor says don't work out for 2 weeks. This week was kind of rough. I don't expect to lose weight when I step on the scale. But what I do expect to do is go over what I need to do next week before I can get back on the gym, before I get back to running again. Vicky and I will sit down and we'll talk about, hey, here's where you're at with this, here's where you're at with that, here's where you need to cut, here's where you need to add. And then next week will be success. And then moving forward will be success. I'm down over 50 pounds so far. Almost back to the weight that I graduated high school at. You could be on that path as well by calling 763-9627, 763-9627. Visit GEAUXSlimBR.com. Yes, go, spelled our way. GoSlimBR.com. Or swing by. They're on Bluebonnet at Perkins right next to Rouse's for Go Slim Nutrition. You know him from The Doctors, but he is the author of crime dramas as well. Dr. Ian Smith joins us this morning. Dr. Smith, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
No, I'm doing well. Glad to have you on. Intrigued by your book series. Admittedly, I know you from a nonfiction standpoint. I know you from The Doctors. I know you as you're basically the fitness guru from The Doctors. What brought you around to writing fiction?
You know, I've always loved fiction. I've read it. I've been a big consumer, particularly of the detective mystery suspense genre. And so it's something that's been part of me since I was a little kid. And in college, I actually started writing it for myself, thinking one day maybe I'll publish it. But, you know, as you said, my nonfiction career, my health and wellness and diet books really have been my mainstay. But I just decided that, you know, I'm in a season in life where I love fiction. I love to consume it. I write it. And so I said to my publisher, I want to publish my novels. And thus was born my fiction career.
It's fascinating, to say the least, to be that diverse in skill sets. We'll get back around to Wolf Point in just a minute, which is the latest in your series. But I've got to start with your medical background. I've got to start with you as a physician. If we could talk about COVID for just a minute, the world we've been in over the last, going on 2 years now, or more than a year and a half now. Your career as a physician, what have been your main takeaways throughout this pandemic when it comes to looking at our society as a whole?
Well, I think that, speaking as a scientist and a medical expert, I think it's been disheartening. I think that, we have trained all of our lives and our careers for these types of moments. It's like here's the example. If you have your house is on fire, you want a fireman to come to take care of your house. You don't want your landscaper to do it. You want your fireman to do it. Here we are in a global pandemic, which is all about science. It's not politics, not religion. You want doctors and nurses and other public health advocates and practitioners to guide you. That's what we're here for. And so it's been very disheartening to see that the credibility of physicians and scientists has really been kind of, put down. And you have people who are on the internet who are, becoming all of a sudden experts. It's just very disheartening. And listen, the only way out of this mess that we've been in for a year and a half is through vaccines and practicing good social distancing and mask wearing. This is not political. I'm not a political person in that way. I want to help everybody. And that's what science says. I follow the science. So it's been very disheartening. I'm happy that a lot of you have gotten vaccinated. I want to keep everybody safe. There are young kids who can't be vaccinated. There are teachers who are in schools. I mean, there's so many people who are vulnerable, people who are immunocompromised, that we have to look after others, not only look after ourselves and what we want. Think about helping somebody else.
No, absolutely. Dr. Ian Smith is our guest. We're going to be talking about his latest book in just a second, but I've got to get one more in because you're the fitness guy. You're like you wrote the books about the diet. You blast the sugar out. Meanwhile, people are getting incentivized for vaccines by being given like a dozen donuts or cheeseburgers. How is that hitting home with you?
Well, listen, I say this all the time. However you can get people in the door right now, because the vaccines are life-saving. I mean, look at the Salk vaccine, what it did to polio. I mean, vaccines are not new in our country and the world, and so vaccines are lifesavers. Whatever you got to do to get people in the door, I'll take a couple of pounds in weight, versus having someone not be vaccinated and potentially die from COVID. 700,000 Americans have died from COVID. I don't want that number to keep growing. I want the number to stop. So, yeah, I work with a program called Flex for Checks, giving out $100 for people who want to get vaccinated. Once again, it's not trying to buy people's, decision to get vaccinated. It's trying to say, this is really important for all of us. We're in this together, and here's $100 to help you maybe with the cost of getting there or whatever it is, child care, whatever it is. But I think it's important for all of us.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Wolf Point. Let's move on to this series of books. This isn't just one book. This isn't just one toe in the water for you. You've got a character named Ash Kane. He's the protagonist here. Tell us all about him.
Sure. So Wolf Point is based in Chicago. Chicago is the backdrop. It's a great place to have it. Chicago has all the things that a city should have. It has sports teams. It has great food. It has a beautiful skyline against Lake Michigan. But it also has grit and violence, and it has philanthropy and affluence. So it's just a great backdrop. But Wolf Point is based on a character named Ash Kane, who's a former Chicago police detective who leaves the force because he won't participate in a bad cover-up. So there's some tension there. But he decides he still wants to pursue justice. So he hangs up his own shingle, starts a private investigative firm, and he takes on very few cases in and around the city. And when people read the books, the first book was called The Unspoken. This book's called Wolf Point. When people read the books, they talk about how they feel like they were in Chicago because I work very hard to make sure that the streets go in the right direction and that the restaurants and buildings are where they're supposed to be on the right corners. Because I think, as a consumer myself of this particular genre, that when it's true, it feels authentic and you feel like you are immersed in the scene with the characters. Ash Kane is a great guy. He's a guy you want to have beer and pizza with. He's funny. He's self-deprecating. He's smart. He's tough and fearless. But he's also a romantic failure. He's got left at the altar by his fiancée. So he's perfectly imperfect, and men and women like him, and I hope that people cheer for him.
This is setting up for a longer series with Ash Kane. How far can this character go?
Well, that's the beauty of having a series. So every book, his story arc, his development, and the minor characters like Mechanic and Commander Burke, all these guys kind of have their own story arcs, character arcs, which is really awesome. The books have been picked up already to become a TV show, a streaming TV series. So hopefully next time you and I talk, it will be in production. So I'm excited about that. And the third book in the series is already written. That book is about a local anchor war between two local anchor TV anchors, and one is being stalked, and all of a sudden the body turns up, and our guy Ash Kane is hired to investigate what's going on. So every year I plan on writing my nonfiction health books in April. They'll be published in April, and every fall an Ash Kane now.
The very next question I had on my list was, did you write this to be solely a book, or were you writing it to be adapted to screen as well? So you've covered that one. Let's get back around to Chicago. Clearly you have a love affair with this city. You're on in South Louisiana right now. We often refer to New Orleans as its own character whenever it's in film. Chicago it's only a handful of cities that can fit that bill. The pairing there was the city something you were going after, or was Ash Kane something you were going after?
Both. I think that you're right about New Orleans, by the way. There are very few cities that have such distinctive character. New Orleans, for sure, is one of them. And Chicago is another one. Chicago, has all the good stuff and the bad stuff, right? It's got great sports teams. It's got great food. But it also is, at its core, the city at its core is politically corrupt. It's been that way for decades. So I'm not being negative about it, but the city operates behind closed doors, and one hand slaps the back and washes one. It's just how it works. That's how the city works. So I really want people to feel the city, not just the city you hear on the news media, but I want you to experience the city as we as Chicagoans know how the city is. And that means that, yes, there's violence, but there's also generosity and philanthropy. Yes, there's, segregation and tension at times, but there's also harmony. And that, to me, makes for a great backdrop for this type of book.
Wolf Point is available right now. Came out earlier this month. The potential for this thing is there, to be sure. I can't wait to dig into it. He is Dr. Ian Smith. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for hopping on board with us, man. I appreciate it.
I love talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Who? Looks like Tina Turner. Oh, it's a Tina Turner tribute. The Tina Turner musical. It's a good thing she looks like Tina Turner. That's good casting. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm hoping to God you're kidding. Were you in Tiger Band? Hey, come to me right at 52 before firing off the brake, please. Come to me right at 52 before you fire off the brake. We've got one more weekend to go at Boo at the Zoo. Get costumed up. Come on out tomorrow and Sunday. Children aged 12 and under will receive prepackaged treat bags upon exiting their zoo adventure. Dress the whole family up for our costume contest to win a household membership to the zoo. Come and get in the Halloween spirit at this merry, not scary extravaganza. Boo at the Zoo is sure to be a good time for all ages. Visit brzoo.org/events for more details. Tina Turner. Who is Tina Turner? Yeah, Tina's more famous.
You know what I love about this time of year? The 3 F's. Fall, football,
And fucking.
and so why don't you take your fishing game to the next level?
Because T-Bob is a very over-the-top personality, and he knows how to deliver. T-Bob's style is very much that of a wrestling interview. And I say that as a compliment.
Oh, yeah. It's a very distinct style that's very captivating to some people.
It's, yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm borderline expecting to be like, front to back fishing, oh yeah, let me tell you. Oh my God, there's a black guy on TikTok who does the best Macho Man, and it's so weird to see. Yeah, it's just so weird to see because it's not just the over the top Macho Man. It's the sedated, like not sedated, but the Macho Man of the ramp up before he gets into all the over the top stuff. It's just so spot on. But obviously, he's black, bald head, looks nothing like Macho Man Randy Savage. So just to see the spot on coming out of that completely different looking of a person.
So, I mean, I've seen white dudes do like flawless Morgan Freeman.
Do what?
Morgan Freeman. I've seen like white dudes do
Frank Caliendo is perfect. Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
My voice, I used to be way better at impressions than I am now. I think it's a lot to do with I don't practice anymore. But, yeah, I used to have...
By myself doing it because I don't care. But when I'm in front of other people, I either chicken out or I'm not confident enough in that impression specifically.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
So far, so good. Take a live look outside and show you how things are looking out there right now. Things look good at College Drive, and then things look good as well on I-12 coming out of Denham Springs into East Baton Rouge Parish. But there is a significant slowdown, it seems, now coming out of Port Allen and into Baton Rouge. You can see that on the top right corner of your screen. So do expect some delays coming into Baton Rouge over the bridge, and we'll have more on that throughout the morning.
See an accident? Reported at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
Good Lord, man, that profile pic, you look like you took out the North Tower. Eight 856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we hand things off to the Fox News rundown, and that leads us up to the Brian Kilmeade show. One more from Ask the Governor. We'll get into it in just a second. Before we do, though, Baton Rouge Physical Therapy has been around for 60 years. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy has 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy has the knowledge, expertise, and experience to make sure you're taken care of. Normally, when you're thinking of physical therapy, you're thinking about recovering from a major accident or injury. Let me throw this out there. What about that nagging pain that just slows you down during the day? What about those things that you just kind of learn to live with and move on? What about those things that are keeping you from physically being your best you that can actually be worked on? Now, if you don't know if they can be worked on, call 917-9185, 917-9185. Get yourself a free consultation, a free screening. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy will sit down and work with you to find out your comfort level and how to get you back to being your best you. Visit brptlake.com, brptlake.com. Get back to being your best you with physical therapy and Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. All right, Ask the Governor was Wednesday. I was sitting on this one until the end of the show today because I wanted to round out the week with just a little bit more of a human perspective. One of the things I like about having an hour-long call-in show with the governor is every once in a while you get away from talking points and into a glimpse of who he is as a man. And I can't remember if it was Jim Inkster or if it was a caller that prompted this. But one of the things on the back end of the pandemic is concerts coming back. And the governor was asked about his most recent concert he attended and what he's into. And, well, give it a listen.
You know, I don't. The last one that I went to that I really, really liked was George Strait. I can tell you that. George Strait. He came to New Orleans. I'm a country music person, as you know. But Donna loves music of all types, and I will accompany her to concerts, but I don't necessarily enjoy them that much.
You went with her to see James Taylor, did you?
I did. I mean, by the way, I do like James Taylor. He's good.
But for you, he's hard rock, right?
Well, he's not country. I'll just put it that way. He's not hard rock. I know the difference between James Taylor and hard rock. He's not that.
You're a George Jones guy, too.
I am.
Right? Yeah.
I am. The country music, and really, I don't think it gets better than the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So fight all day long over masks, fight all day long over vaccines, fight all day long over tax reform. I think we can all get on board with George Strait, can't we? I don't know. I like that. In the week like that. Oh, no, in the week by telling you about Benny's Car Wash is hosting a haunted car wash. This is going to be going on at the Segan Lane location. Haunted car wash. It's back for the first time. They haven't done this in 15 years. Tickets are $20 bucks. The haunted car wash is at the Segan Lane location of Benny's. Check it out this weekend. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening. A haunted car wash. Since first opening in 1951, Benny's is... Oh, no, it's just about Benny's itself. So the haunted car wash, they used to have it a long time ago. All proceeds from both nights go to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital. I probably should have mentioned that while we're on the air. But it's a 6 to 10 p.m., 6 to 7 is the kid-friendly hour. Segan Lane location. Oh, crap, it's next weekend. Oh, good, I got a chance to do it again. All right, never mind. Hey, YouTube. We'll see y'all Monday with, let's see, Jody Sweeten, Daniel Earthspammer from the Pelican Institute, Condon, Jimmy Fredericks from Knock Knock Museum. We're going to talk opioids with Our Lady of the Lake and Medical Monday. And Wags will be... Wow, I'm done show prepping for Monday. And LSU hasn't even kicked off yet. How you like that? We'll see y'all. Thanks for watching.